Hi, I'm JimmyNavio.
We are here with some awesome people. And I just refreshed because I thought it was on my end. Professional. I am a professional. Thank you guys so much for being here. Like I said, we have a couple really special guests. We have BattleAthlete, partnered streamer. Mr. BattleAthlete is here. We're going to talk to him in a few minutes about the whole Steam fiasco. We got our good friend KittyCast here, who, for those of you who've been around for a while, he's the one that introduced me to MXM right before it got shut down. I'm still salty about it, but he's a cool dude. He's going to tell us a little bit about what he's been doing with Bless Online. So I'm going to bring him on now, and I'll let them kind of introduce themselves, maybe ask them a couple questions, and then we'll jump right into this thing. So let's bring them on here and make sure everyone's unmuted. I think you're muted on your end, so there we go. Hey, we're here.
Oh boy.
This is the first time I've ever had legit like guests, because I've had Meshyf on here before. I've had, other people come on, but like I've never had you guys on before. It was down to the wire. I think we started a minute late, but we got it all locked in. So I'm excited. So BattleAthlete, why don't you say hi and tell us about yourself? How long have you been partnered?
Man, like I don't know, like 4 years.
Oh, so you've been on Twitch for a minute.
Yeah, like I think I started 2014, like April 4th or something. At first, I thought it was April Fool's because I was like, my stream's a joke, haha. But no, it was like, I actually looked back and I was like, oh, it was actually the 4th. I went live with like a webcam and like a really bad capture card and an awful clip-on mic that like blows out when I talk. Like the audio is excruciating. I don't know how I got any sort of momentum with that terrible setup. But then like I was streaming like full time for like 6 months, and then just like overnight, it's like I caught a game that just got me a whole lot of like publicity, and like I just blew up like literally overnight. And then even then I still got declined for partnership like 2-3 times. But then I finally got like approved like in December of 2014. So
that's crazy. I didn't realize you'd been at it so long.
A lot of people think oh sorry, yeah, what?
No, I just said I didn't realize you'd been at it so long.
Yeah, man, it's been a long time, man. A lot of people think it's like a snowball effect, but it's more like a steady line and then just like boop, and it just like goes crazy like out of nowhere one day. Usually how it goes.
You caught that wave. And yeah. So KittyCast, what about you? How long you been around the Twitch universe?
Oh, geez. Well, I haven't probably been streaming seriously for too long. I'm sure my account is really old, maybe like 3-4 years old. Or I was definitely streaming in college, which was like 4 years ago. So I mostly I did a little bit of like Final Fantasy streaming where I got some viewers because we were doing like progression rate content. And then I did like some casual shoutcasting for Counter-Strike and stuff, which got a lot of Steam friend requests, but not as many viewers.
Okay.
And then I mostly just stream for fun. But then this MOBA called Master X Master came out, and it was super cool and super fun, and it turns out I was pretty good at it. So after that, I started to get quite a few viewers, and I hit like rank 1 a few times, and then my team won all the tournaments, and then they shut the game down. And so I was like, well, I like playing this game more than anything else. It's probably my favorite game ever. It's the most fun I've ever had playing game. And so after that, I kind of didn't really know what to stream because I was like, well, I can't stand playing the game for more than like 2 hours at a time. So I don't want to stream and like swap games and then stream and swap games. It's really like I'd play a game or two of League and then get annoyed and quit, and then go play Fortnite and then die immediately like 3 times and quit.
That's me.
And then I'd like just download any random multiplayer game that my friends were like, hey dude, this is new on Steam. It totally looks great. And then we'd play that for like a day and quit. So finally, some of my friends talked to me about Bless back in like December when it was getting released or launched on the Japanese servers. and I was really skeptical because I never play games on the foreign servers, and I was like, oh, this is going to be way too much of a hassle to like set up all this stuff, and I have to play it through VPN, and you have to beat the Japanese captcha boss and all this. But then there was like a super easy guide that even I was able to do.
Oh, okay.
So I started playing that for a while, and that was really fun. And I started playing with my friends, and then I just got selected to be like an emissary for Bless, which is kind of like one of their sponsored streamers. There's a lot of them, and so I'm just going to do my best with my limited time to kind of like have a good stream to represent the game. I really want to be hardcore. I used to be a really casual MMO player, and then I discovered the light of being a hardcore MMO player, and now I don't have time to be a hardcore MMO player. So we're going to see how it works out.
Yeah, that's always been my problem. I've never been able to commit to an MMO because I've just always been test. I see you.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to check.
I see your chat.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, like I had a bunch of friends play WoW in high school and stuff, and I just saw how much time they were committing to it, and I just knew. I was like, if I start playing that, it's gonna ruin like everything else in my life. So I kind of had to just like make that decision. Because I was already on like I was on a competitive Counter-Strike team at the time as well and stuff. So I was just like,
Nice.
I can't do two things at once. And Counter-Strike was enough. We used to go to a few tournaments and stuff, but yeah, I've always wanted to get into an MMO, and I've dipped my toes in a few of them. But I saw you playing Bless the other day, and it looks like a lot of fun. So I definitely wanted to ask you a few questions about that, because I've tried a few recently on my stream. My community knows, like, we've been trying to find like a fun MMO to play, and we tried a bunch of the free ones and stuff. And there's always like one thing or another that always just ends up frustrating me about it, and I just quit. So I don't know. Like, one thing I noticed that I did like about Bless is I noticed the one thing I kind of liked about it, and I don't know if it's just the way you had it set up, was the limited UI. Like one thing I really hate about, like when I was playing Terra or when I did try WoW or whatever, like I'd watch videos and their screens just covered in like hotkeys and buttons and menus.
Too much
and
information
stuff.
too soon, right?
And I'm like, I just want to cast like 8 spells like Diablo style and kill shit with my friends. So I noticed, like, as far as like the spells are concerned, there was just that little skill bar down at the bottom. Yeah. So could you elaborate on that a little bit?
So I'm not sure if you're in the minority or if it's just only the people that don't like the UI that complain about it, but I know a lot of the people like on the Blessed Discord, which is mostly people complaining, are like, wow, why is the UI so small? Why can't we edit the UI? Why can't we like move stuff around or whatever? But I've always been a person that pretty much played on default UI for like every game. I mean, it was definitely like an effort for me to even download like DPS meters for WoW, because I'm like, what is this doing on my screen? This is obnoxious.
Yeah.
I think they actually made the Bless UI on North America even more minimalist, because they reduced the amount of skills that you like have on your skill bar. You're only gonna have 7, and they changed the way the combat works. They do have like your chain system that pops up next to like the mob you're fighting, kind of in the middle of the screen, but it helps make it like apparent to you what you're doing. So I don't think it'll be too bad. So yeah, the UI is definitely going to be very similar in North America, and I haven't seen them say much about really having it be like any support to make it very crazy or even edit it that much. So.
I mean, I guess having the option is good, but for me, it always just felt overwhelming. And I was gonna pull up one of your VODs here and kind of jump forward so we can just look at the UI. Let me see here. Yeah, I'm gonna switch over to, let's see how our media view. I just changed the overlays, so boom, there we go. Oh, I need to adjust the size of it. Almost perfect. Let me fix that.
Behind the videos, guys.
Pretty nice setup.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying to make this legit.
I mean, it looks pretty good. We should just do like a 4-person reaction video. Just pull up YouTube videos. we'll just watch cat videos and just all go, oh.
So there you go. There's Kitty Cat's pretty face there. But see, like, I love that. I love that the UIs, you got like obviously your health, and then I'm guessing like what is it? Is the energy of it like mana, or what's it?
So I'm playing a mage right now. The blue bar is mana, and then above it you have element. And if you see that ability on the very far left, that costs like 1 bar of element to do, and it gives you like a different buff based on what element you're doing. So like fire spells give you fire element, ice spells give you ice element, thunder spells or air spells give you air element. The fire one basically like gives your next spell a 50% bonus chance to crit, and then all your crits for like the next like 8 seconds or something put a burn stack on them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but I love how it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 EQ XZ, and that like it's not, you know, the entire bottom half of the screen is just covered in like in statuses and hotkeys and shit.
I remember when I played Final Fantasy 14, it was like I had every shift key, every alt key, and like every key on my keyboard were all bound. I had to have at least like 30 to 35 hotkeys, and you used all of them in a fight.
That's why people have those crazy like MMO mice that have like the 20 buttons on the side of them and stuff.
The new combat in Bless is going to be really cool, I think. So I don't know if you guys have played Guild Wars 2. It's kind of like Guild Wars 2, but basically the UI will be a little bit like that, where on the left side you'll have like 3 abilities, and they're going to be like your starter abilities. And then depending on which one you pick, it like has an ability chain that you can do. So like let's say you pick the second ability out of your 3 starters. Well, then after that, you then have 3 more options of what next ability you want to cast, and they might all do different stuff. So like for example, Mage a lot of times has like a chain from one ability where you can like go into an AoE, or go into like single target, or go into a crowd control.
Okay, so are the chains similar to like I played a little bit of Terra. I know like you can create different like chains of abilities. Is it kind of like that, or is it more
the chains are like hard programmed into the game. It's basically like, let's say you have like just your basic like fire shot that you use to like kind of regenerate mana, and then you have fireball, and then you have like incinerate or something. Well, if you use fireball, then you can only ever use like meteor storm or like fire explosion or flame strike as your next 3 abilities. And then depending on which one of those, you can only ever use the ability that comes after that.
I see. Okay. That's cool. I could get behind that. So as far as the pay model for this, I think before you said it's buy to play, so you have to like buy the initial game, and then there is an optional optional subscription that gives you like an XP buff and a gold buff or something like that.
Yeah, so the premium membership is what they're calling it. Gives you a number of different things, and I actually have it up because I'm trying to compile like a comprehensive FAQ that I can get out a few days before the game goes live, where I have just a bunch of answers to these things because they have like announcements all over the place and interviews and stuff. So I'm probably going to try and compile it all into one document. But the premium gives you a mount skin and a pet skin, and then a bunch of stuff that's like, I guess it's nice, but mostly useless when you actually like play the game. So they reduced the NPC equipment repair fee by 30%. Nobody in the game repairs their equipment at the NPCs, because when you repaired an NPC, your gear has a chance to lose max durability.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but if you craft repair hammers and repair it yourself with the repair hammers, like it never loses max durability. So nobody ever repairs with the NPCs.
Yeah, why would that? Doesn't make any sense.
Then like they reduced the travel cost fee for like using their wyverns to go to like other zones by 50%. I mean, it's not super expensive anyways. One of the really nice things is that they give you like these premium tools where normally you have to go buy pickaxes and herb satchels, and every time you gather a resource, it uses one. But you can just use these an unlimited amount of times.
Oh, okay.
So that's pretty nice. The biggie is probably 20% more XP.
Yeah.
20% more hunting gold. Like, the mobs don't really drop very much money in Bless. It's not really a game where you get a lot of things by farming mobs, especially money. Unlike BDO, where you just go grind for hours and hours and you get a lot of gear and a lot of money. Like, that doesn't happen in Bless. 20% more dungeon points. It's kind of hard to understand what they mean by this because they have like multiple currencies in the game, and it says increase the amount of dungeon points earned through playing dungeons. On Japan, they're called like adventure points, and you also get them from doing this like daily monster journal that resets every day, where you go kill like 30 of a mob, and then you get some enhancement materials for your gear, and then you get these adventure points that you can use to buy like enhancement materials, or like these RNG boxes that give you different kinds of enhancement materials and stuff like that. So if it means like you get 20% more adventure points overall, it's really good. If it just means from dungeons, it's pretty useless because nobody really gets very many from dungeons. Maybe like 10% of your total adventure points come from dungeons.
Okay.
You can register more items on the marketplace. You get a reduced tax rate on the marketplace, but you're still probably paying like 20-25%. It's the same as Japan. Because I think they have like a 30% tax on the auction house, which is the only way you ever sell anything because there's no trading. So, pay a lot of money back.
Based on all of that, it sounds like the subscription is very well worth it. At least, like, if you plan on, I mean, I don't know, like, if you're going to play the game long term, how long do you think it would take without the sub to grind all that stuff out? Like, do you think it's worth it?
I think if somebody is, like, already interested in Bless, they might as well pre-order the $40 Founders Pack because you get a month of premium for like $5 off, and you get the head start. So I think that's like a pretty good deal to me. It's a 2-day head start for like anyone buying the Founders Packs. The 20% experience is helpful, although if you really spend time playing the game, it's not going to be as big of a deal because you can tame like any mob, basically any mob in the world you can tame. You just walk up and use taming scrolls and you tame it. They don't. So in order to support that system, none of the mobs are like unique other than their appearance. They can all just have a chance to get a randomized set of skills.
Okay.
Drawn from a pool when you upgrade them.
So they don't have unique skills per
right.
unit.
Like scorpions don't do anything different than cougars, and cougars don't do anything different than wolves.
Okay.
They just look different.
So what?
And the main is
so what happens when you tame them? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but like what? So when you tame them, what's the, if they don't have different abilities, is it more just the cosmetic aspect of it, or?
No, you can upgrade them, and that's where like it becomes a bit of a grind, because the way you do it is you basically tame hundreds of these pets, and you mass craft the taming scrolls to like level up your enchanting anyways. So people just have tons of these taming scrolls, and they go and tame tons of these mobs. There's 4 different tiers. So you have like green, blue, purple, and then orange for legendary. And every time, so they start off with no skills at green. When you upgrade them to blue, they get 1 skill, and then purple and epic like get 2 skills, and then legendary gets 3 skills. And the skills themselves also have different rarities. So obviously the best thing would be like a legendary with 3 skills that were all epic. But that's very low chance.
Dude, that sounds like a hell of a grind. That sounds like you could spend forever like taming pets and upgrading the shit out of them.
But the highest, no, you really can, because I won't get into like the percent chances of it right now, but it's a lot of, it's like thousands of pets tamed in like hours and hours and hours. But one of the passive skills that the pets can have is an XP bonus.
Okay.
And the highest tier of the XP bonus on the pet is 154%. So, like 20% from the premium is not going to get you as far when a number of people will probably be walking around with at least, like the lowest tier is 40%.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then it goes up to like 70, and then the third tier is 154. So a lot of people are going to be getting these experienced pets after they hit 45, because that's when the real XP grind starts. You don't really have much time to spend on your like RNG praying fest that you'll get a pet with an XP passive while you're leveling, because one, you don't have many taming scrolls, and you can't buy them from vendors. And as far as I know, you can't buy them from the cash shop. So you have to rely on players to craft them. And nobody's really going to be crafting at the beginning of the game. So most people are just going to rush to 45 and then probably tame some pets and then get XP bonus. And once you have people with 70, 150% XP bonuses, they're not going to be... The 20% is like nice, but you're not like, oh, wow, I really have to get premium for the 20%.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. So, wow, that you've given us a lot of information, and I'm glad we have it all in one spot. I'm gonna go back and watch that like twice, so I can like make sense of everything that you've explained. But the whole pet thing sounds really interesting. That definitely is appealing, because that's always the worry, is like what eventually what am I gonna do? Like what else is there to, what can I grind? What can I work on? Now I notice here the last question I'm gonna ask, and then we're gonna move on to some other stuff, but it says field PvP. So is there also gonna be like arena? So like for example in Guild Wars, they gave you the option of like just getting like a maxed out level character and just building, like choosing your loadout and going straight into like arena PvP. Is there going to be anything like that in this, or is it just going to be within the MMO world? Like, is there going to be a separate like PvP mode or arena type mode like in Guild Wars or anything?
So one thing that a lot of people are really divided on is they don't have equalized PvP.
Okay.
Your gear always follows you into PvP, and your
Okay.
level and your skill builds. So you can have more skills and more stats and more gear than the other people you're fighting against. But they have open world and instance PvP. So they have like one open world zone where they have world bosses that spawn that is open PvP for both factions. And like every zone after level 35 is open world PvP. And they also have a 3v3 arena and 100v100 that they have like a daily to do, and it's open like 3 times a day. It's mostly like a Zerg fest, and when I was on Japan, my site always lost, so I stopped playing.
Cool.
But
Yeah, you know who I was thinking James would probably love this if it's all open world PvP, so he can go
Who?
crush noobs, shady hobos.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's all.
Yeah.
That's the only reason he plays RuneScape, is so he can just farm crazy high levels and smash noobs all over the place.
yeah, so I do want to point out, Zube watches my stream sometimes. He said 1v1 and 15v15 as well. I know they added 15v15 in Japan. I'm not sure if it's going to be there when early access launches, but I know that they are definitely going to add it like as soon as possible. And there is dueling, so you can duel people.
Okay.
So yeah, they have a lot of PvP options.
That is crazy. I might give this game a try. I don't know. I think you may have convinced me. I really want to find an MMO that I enjoy, and that I can just jump into every once in a while. And I like that it's like you said, buy to play, optional subscription. So like I don't fit. That was one of my things. Like monthly MMOs, I feel like it's a waste of money if I don't have time to play it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm paying $15 a month, and I only played it 2 hours last month. Like that always kind of deterred me from a lot. Like I think that's the main reason I never played WoW, because I knew if I paid for it, I'd want to play it all the time to get my money's worth.
Yeah.
You know. So I'm glad that I like the pay model a lot. Thank you so much for all that information. I'm sure you could give us like 2 more hours worth of info on it.
Yeah, there's a ton.
I do want to move on to some other stuff. So everyone here, make sure you go follow KittyCast. He's playing this game right now. I'm sure if you have any questions, he's really good about answering questions during his stream. That's how I met him, actually. He was playing a card game. You were playing like Eternal or something. And
I played so many card games.
And
It's like every card game.
I was like really interested in getting into it and stuff. And I was looking for people like that were streaming it that didn't have hundreds of viewers so that I could try and like ask some questions and stuff. And I came into KittyCast stream. And he was super nice, answered all my questions and stuff. Obviously, he's very knowledgeable about the games he plays. So yeah, make sure you go check him out. Bless looks like a lot of fun. It's fun to watch, and he'll no doubt answer your questions for you. And he's an official emissary for this game. So the more people he gets interested, he's just doing his job.
Yeah, that's true.
But I want to move on to the reason BattleAthlete is here, the reason I invited him. I'm going to let him kind of explain from his point of view what's going on, and then we'll open up a discussion about it. Steam has made some decisions lately that have caused some rifts, and some people are not happy about it, and some other people...
Kind of an interesting subject. You know?
It is.
Oh, by the way, I don't know if we ever introduced James.
He's my co-host. We don't talk about him. He just sits there and looks pretty. No.
Yeah,
James,
it was like BattleAthlete, KittyCast, and it was like
no. That's actually a perfect segue for what Let's do something right now. Speaking of James, this is what's about to happen.
Oh no.
I think James knows what's about to happen. I've only told like 2 people about this.
You're making me nervous.
Okay, I know what he's talking about.
James and I, to promote this podcast that we're trying to get off the ground, to promote my Twitch channel, and to promote his YouTube channel, which a lot of people don't know. James has like a fairly successful YouTube channel. He's got 80,000 subs, and he makes content videos and reviews and all kinds of stuff. So trying to help each other out. We're doing a
Giveaway.
And it's already live. Post the link. Go sign up for the giveaway.
Oh, a gift card giveaway.
We're giving a Amazon $50 gift card, a Steam $50 gift card, and
nice.
Third place wins a $10 or less game of your choice from Steam. So all you got to do is follow me, follow James, check out my Discord, sub him on YouTube, check out our Twitters, refer some friends.
If you see somebody that wins and their name is BattleAthlete, that's not me. That's some other guy.
BattleAthlete.
I don't know who that is. No relation whatsoever. But if he does win, you could just send it to me.
I did update the giveaway command in chat as well. If you forget the link, you can do the giveaway command. Hide your kids, hide your wives, all that good stuff. If you win first place, you get the choice, actually, if you'd rather have the Amazon or the Steam gift card. Because some people, don't care for Amazon. They just want games. So you get your choice of Amazon or Steam. Second place gets whatever. By the way, you could buy a $50 Steam gift card on Amazon. So it really doesn't make much of a difference. Amazon, I feel like, has more purchasing power, but it's up to you. So that is what I was really excited to tell you guys. So now it's official.
Yeah, man, that's really cool, dude.
Yeah.
We should have started with that.
Anyway.
Oh, by the way, man, I've been wanting to tell you the entire time, man. Can I check out your shirt?
Oh, this is I wore this because KittyCast is here. It's my kitty shirt.
Right.
Space Cats.
I approve. That shirt's awesome.
I don't have any battle shirts or athletic wear, so I couldn't rep BattleAthlete with clothing, but I could rep KittyCast.
I wear my own shirt, but we've had conversations where it's like, is it egotistical to wear your own merch?
Oh, I do all the time, dude. Sell that shit.
Me too.
I pimp my own merch all the time.
Yeah,
I've
man,
had like 2 people ever buy shirts from me, but I'll still pimp that shit.
Yeah, this is kind of off subject, but like a friend of mine that's a YouTuber came to visit, had a housewarming party, and he drove in for the party. and it was our first time actually meeting. And he had his own merch on, and I was just giving crap like the whole night. It's like, oh, you're gonna wear your own T-shirt, huh? You're gonna wear your own shirt like all night? You're gonna wear your own merch?
Look, streaming is a hustle, and the markup on T-shirts is amazing.
Yeah, I can see it.
No, man, I'd do it too. I'm actually wearing a Witwick shirt right now. But
Yeah, you gotta do a little bit of it. I think when anyone starts streaming, they always feel like a bit of an asshole at first, but then you just kind of learn that that's just part of the game. And I feel like Twitch people are a lot less obvious and like blatant and egregious about it than YouTubers. YouTubers are just straight up like, smash that like button and blah 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 blah, and it's just like, all right, dude, we get it. Like,
merch is in the description.
You gotta crush it. You gotta pulverize that subscribe button. Give it a thumbs up.
I kind of noticed like the opposite, like with streamers. I think when a lot of people first start, they start out with a really positive attitude, and they kind of overlook like a lot of the things where they're not as egregious with how they like sell themselves or sell their merch.
Yeah.
But then like down the line, a lot of times they like they'll get a little bit more humbled, and they're like, oh man, you know, like I look back to like me like 4 years ago, and I was kind of like, ugh, you know, I like kind of cringe where it's like, you know, you kind of sell yourself a little too hard, and you're like, oh, just get back, man, you're not who you think you are, just chill.
Yeah.
Like, hey, what's up, man? It's me, Logan Paul, selling shirts. What's going on? It's like, no, dude, stop, don't.
Yeah, I think the line has gotten a lot smaller though after they added Twitch Prime. It's like,
yeah. Mm-hmm. Also,
Nice.
because like they're so directly involved with Amazon as well. I totally agree with you.
Yeah. So anyway, let's go back to our other view for a minute, because I want to see your pretty faces. So, BattleAthlete, why don't you start us off on this discussion?
Oh man, the Steam thing. Oh man. All right. So I guess I'll start from the beginning for people that don't know. So what happened was that there's a lot of quote unquote adult content games on Steam, and a lot of devs, like a lot of people know that game Honey Pop, where it's like a really good game where it's kind of like Candy Crush, but you know, there's a bit more strategy, and it involves you like, it's kind of like part visual novel, part Candy Crush, where you kind of like your goal is to get like nudes from the ladies and sleep with the ladies via puzzle game. Well, the Honey Pop dev got like an email from Steam and a few other devs as well, like Nekapara and a bunch of them, and they were saying that they had to either change their games to make it appropriate for the Steam terms of service, which I guess they were saying there was too much adult content, or they were going to be removed from the game. So there was like a lot of backlash, and a lot of people were getting really mad, including me, because I was like, this is crap, because it's kind of a double standard. And I've actually had like long conversations about this, but like you can play a game like Witcher 3, and Witcher 3 has you where you can like sleep with prostitutes, and they show everything. Or there's Grand Theft Auto 5 where you can get a lap dance or order a prostitute, and then even afterwards like kill them and take your money back. But then you have Honey Pop, and it's like, oh no, there's a picture of an anime titty. It's like, oh no, get it out of here. It's too much. It's like, oh, think of the children. It's like, what? It's like even consensual, and it's not even like shown. It's like implied, where like you get the picture, and it'll be like a boob, at least on the Steam version. I mean, there's an uncensored one, and that's something else, but it's like, then like it's just implied. Like you hear audio, there's like a boob or something, and they're trying to say that's not appropriate. Then there's also games like Conan's Exile, where they just like have dudes with huge swinging dongs just all over. It's like not even subtle. Like there's dong swinging physics in Conan Exiles. I've never before seen that in a game before, and that's totally like, that's cool not only to buy on Steam but to stream. But I feel like, you know, that's like Twitch's decision, and you know, whatever, and that's kind of complicated. Not
even talking about sexual content, just talking about sheer violence. Like some of this, like there's some straight up just like gnarly, like the Postal games, or like, you know, there's some seriously gnarly graphic violence too, and it's just like, nah, that's cool.
Yeah, like I think they tried to have some backlash with hatred, you know, which is that point you were trying to make, but I think that was more of a I don't know. I feel like that was just like because it got so much attention because of the killing was like a shooting, and it was like, I don't know. It's
You know what made me cringe like crazy was just some of the deaths in which one was it? Some of the death sequences in some of the latest Tomb Raider games.
Oh yeah,
were crazy,
yeah.
like super gnarly, like even hard to watch. Like I remember Conan, the late night host Conan, he did like a one of his segments where he plays
Clueless
games. Clueless Gamer. He did one with the Tomb Raider game, and like everyone, like he would die, and everyone was like, "Holy shit!" Like the deaths were so realistic in that game.
Yeah, I think it also is. It makes you wince a little bit more just because it's like, it's Lara Croft. She's like, a woman. It's not like it's Mortal Kombat where it's like, jacked up Scorpion or Liu Kang or whatever, and it's like just men killing.
That could be something to
like,
that.
Oh, yeah, it's like super graphic. Then again, you could also do the fatalities to, was it Jesse or Jackie Cage or whatever? The
daughter.
Johnny Cage. Yeah, and like you could do those to her, and like that always makes you go, oh god, it's so much worse. You're like, well, leave her alone. I don't know. I think
I heard that I thought I read somewhere that Steam's original contact with Honey Pop was like, someone said it was like they came out and said, oh, we didn't mean like that. Honey Pop wasn't.
Say it was a mistake.
Yeah,
is what it was, and it was. I don't know. Like I can kind of speculate it, but apparently what happened is that there is a like a social justice warrior type group for women. I forget the name of it. Maybe somebody else in the cast knows the name. I forgot what it was.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Do you remember what the name was, James?
I forget their name, but didn't they say like that they took credit for it? Like they took credit for this happening? Because I remember watching,
they were like celebrating
it yesterday.
Yeah, they were celebrating it, and that's what made people think that maybe it wasn't Steam's fault. What people are saying is that this group mass flagged a bunch of adult games on Steam without them knowing anything about it. So they just like mass flagged like a bunch of visual novels like Nekopara, Honey Pop, and a bunch of them, and then it was like an automated email to all these devs. But to me, I just don't fucking believe it. Like I don't know how many people are in that particular group that they would have mass flagged to the point that all of those games would have just been automatically flagged and emailed to the devs to say to remove it, because I mean those are pretty big titles, and the idea that they wouldn't be trolled by a bunch of like random reports with no substance and it would trigger an email just seems like implausible. But to me it seems more like they sent an email out and then they were like, we should turn back. Because what I heard was that the guy that's in control of that stuff was a new guy. They hired like somebody new to be in charge of Valve's, I forgot the name of the position, but he had just got it, and I think he was
overreacted maybe.
Yeah, or just like tried to clean up or do something to show that he was. I don't know. Like I'm just speculating, I'm just kind of making up stories. I'm like fan fiction about how Valve got Honey Pop. It's like I don't know.
So
but,
I think for me it's kind of indicative of a bigger problem, and that is just Steam not having very good like filters and control of their own ecosystem. Because like a shitty age verification, I don't think is the right answer. I think one guy, I think what he recommended, he said all they have to do is like you go into the settings, and inside the settings there are some parental controls, but they should just have one thing where you can go in and do something like a legitimate age verification one time. And then you flip a switch saying allow adult content, and then it's just another category. Because when you go to steampowered.com, right, you have those categories. Like the games, like you drop down and there's games, there's action, adventure, casual, indie. They should just have one right there that just says mature, and it doesn't show up at all unless you verified your age. Then people who actually want all that content will see it, and those who don't won't have to deal with like sifting through it or age verifications or whatever. Like they need to just make a way that adults can play mature games without having to deal with all that bullshit.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Like, I think a lot of people have been speculating on a way to like make a cement surefire way to know that people that are browsing for adult content are adults, where it's not just kids lying about their age. Some sort of way to like verify it. But at the same time, when you have a bunch of content on Steam that's aimed towards adults, you could also get like, it could also kind of like ruin it, you know? Because I was trying to think of what a
But it won't ruin it if it's literally not visible at all in a vanilla. Like if the marketplace just completely removed all that stuff and put it on the mature section, the vanilla Steam, no, it wouldn't. You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't ruin it for everyone else.
Well, I don't mean like ruin it for other people. What I meant is kind of like I meant ruin it sort of quality wise, because I was having a conversation with someone about what it would be like if there was a Steam version, like an adult version of Steam. You could call it Cream, you know, or or whatever you're into. But it's like there's only a handful of adult games that are also like really good. You know, like people bring up Honey Pop. You're like, yeah, we want more Honey Pop. You know, we want more good games that are also meant for like adults. But like you can't really have an entire platform based around only a handful of really good games. And what you might find yourself with is a bunch of really terrible adult themed games. Like,
yeah, but that's true now of non-adult games. How many really terrible shitty games are on Steam in general?
Touche. And that's the other point that that we kind of made in the conversation. It's like there's really bad games that are for anybody, you know, but I kind of like the gray area that it has right now, where it's like you can have an adult themed game. Like I think Honey Pop and Necopar and all these games should be allowed on Steam, and then Steam should just look the other way, or just say it's okay to modify the game to the uncensored version if you want to, like afterwards. I really like the way things have been, you know, like that way we still have that Steam quality control, and you could have that like mature section, but you know, it's like that way the games don't get too wild, you know. I'm not looking for like the penthouse version of like Honey Pop, or like you know, some like really wild out stuff, you know what I'm talking about? Like I kind of like them to reel it back in, you know. I don't know, maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just set in my ways, I don't know.
Yeah,
Go
ahead, Kitty.
On Steam, all those games seem like something that you pretty much have to search for, or you're not going to come up with them. Like,
that's a good point.
I've been on Steam for a really long time, and I don't like ever get notifications of these games unless maybe it's like in a friend's like recently played or something. But even then, they're never going to be on the front page. You basically have to hear about them through word of mouth, or like sorting through other people's Steam libraries, and then maybe once you find one, you like get suggested the others, but they've never been well publicized. And I think that like the audience and the like player base for these games has pretty much generally like kept to themselves too.
It's kind of like a community of people that kind of play those games, where you kind of hear it from other people that you know that have this similar interest. I would have sworn that when Honey Pop first came out, it was on the front page at one point, but maybe I was wrong.
Well, I mean, they could probably do maybe a little better job, because Upcoming is not filtered at all. It's basically anything that's coming out. Like if you like here, let me pull up the media view. If you go to Upcoming right here, you'll see some serious dog shit games here, or like what is you green elephant? Like there's no sorting or anything for Upcoming. You know what I mean? So like they like right there.
I'll let you know. You Green Elephant is the greatest Doom reskin released this week.
So here you go, right here on my main page on Up and Coming. There's no filtering at all. So the new girl, indie, casual, sexual content, nudity, right?
Dude, they throw that title with just about anything, though, for real.
But that I think that maybe is the problem. Is some sections of it don't have good filtering or recommendations, right? It should recommend upcoming games that I would actually be interested in. That I would filter for, you know what I mean? Same with Specials. Specials has 0 filters on it.
Oh, well, yeah, like whenever they have a Steam sale, like you scroll down, I've seen like Honey Pop and other games on there for sale.
Yeah, there was the whole, you could get all the Sakura games for like 60% off.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And
what a bundle.
In chat, Gator Pete he played devil's advocate, and he said maybe another speculation. He said maybe one of the reasons that Steam is doing what they're doing is because there's a big gray area, especially in the anime graphic novel kind of community, with age ambiguity, and I think Steam really doesn't want to get involved with some of that. There's that whole meme with like, that one girl, she's obviously young, but they're like, oh, she's an 8,000-year-old god, just like, so it's okay, So I think
like
my wife is a 1,000-year-old dragon. It's fine.
Yeah.
You talking about Kana now?
So I think, I'm not as familiar with that community, but one of the things that James brought up is that like Steam really doesn't want to have to deal with that. So in some cases it might be, I was just looking in that upcoming, this New Girl game, the girl in that second screenshot down looks kind of young, so like
they're all drawn, they're all fictitious anime girls.
I know that. I don't.
It's a victimless crime, Jimmy.
Victimless crime. To
Thank
each
you.
their own, but I'm just saying, I could see how playing devil's advocate, Steam might not want to have to fight that fight.
Yeah, that's the thing. When normies come into, your visual novel territory, you got all these normies that are, playing whatever, like Fortnite or PUBG, and then they're like on Steam for the first time. They're like, oh my God, what's this? And it's like, I hate it, but deep down, I'm really interested. You're like, yeah, okay, buddy. Yeah, fight the good fight. Who are you really fighting against? Is it me or yourself? I think it's deep, right?
What are you linking, James? I'm scared.
It's nothing illegal.
Necropara, the forbidden fruit.
Hold on.
There you go.
Accurate.
I've totally seen that.
Terrible.
Oh, man,
Terrible,
that's funny.
James. You're going to prison.
Get in the party van.
All right.
It took me a minute to find that, but I remembered it because I remember I saw a thing where they swapped the positions, and it was a young girl in a van, and she was like, hey you, I got rock CDs and beer in my van.
Terrible.
I haven't seen that one, but I love that where they put like the lolis in cop uniforms, like on Cherno's emote. It's great.
So did you guys download Sheefs Beef? Did you pull up the video or downloaded it or anything?
Yeah.
I shared the link in our group chat. I don't know if you guys...
I must have missed it.
We can post it again. So every week, one of the things we do here on our podcast is a segment called Sheefs Beef. Meshyf is a member of my community, really chill guy. He's also a streamer. We can do a shout out to Meshyf. And he puts together a pre-made video for us called Sheefs Beef, where he tackles two topics. And then we pause it and discuss those topics and decide which one is the beefier beef, which one we think is a bigger issue.
Well,
It's basically He basically complains about two things, and we decide which one we agree with more, and then he tells us if we're right or not.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
There is a correct answer here.
There is a correct answer. So if you have got that video downloaded or pulled up, I think you can play it from the browser. I downloaded it. So what we'll do, none of us have watched this. We're all gonna hit play at the same time and watch Sheefs Beef. And then I think he said to pause it at what was it, 4:54, 4 something.
4:54. Yep.
Yeah, so we'll pause it at 4:54 and discuss it, and then we'll play the rest.
Okay.
So let's get that up here. Let me find it. This is Sheefs Beef 523.
My trigger finger is ready.
I gotta set it up on my overlay here first.
That boy's about to get eaten by that shark.
Raft. I can probably guess the tags. Early access, survival, crafting. There's one more I'm missing.
Are you actually guessing the
Multiplayer.
tags?
Open world.
Oh, open world, definitely.
All right, I'm just gonna do this right in the VLC window here.
Let's see, how close was I? Oh, early access survival multiplayer crafting. Easy.
All right, I've got it up. You guys all got it up?
Yeah, I think I'm good to go.
Yep.
I'm gonna crank up the volume here. Hopefully, I don't blow out your guys' ears on stream. Let me check.
Welcome to this.
All right, that sounds pretty good. I can adjust it as we go. So I'll do 1, 2, 3, go, and on go we'll all hit play. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3, go.
Welcome to this week's installment of Sheefs Beef. We're down here at JTRHNBR Network's Sheef Beef Stadium Complex, where we're bringing you the beef. We're going to put two things head to head, see what the commentators have to say, see what the chat has to say, and find out which everyone thinks is the beefiest. There is a right answer, so go ahead and stick around to the end of the show to find out what it is. Now your host, the man with the beef, Meshyf. Welcome, everybody. Yay! Good to see you. Glad we're all here. Today we have two really tough beefs going at it. Our first beef, we're going to dive right in, virtual reality. Here's the issue with virtual reality. We've been sold a bill of goods that just has not connected yet. Okay? VR headsets, Oculus, Rift, Vive, Gear VR, the Google thing that nobody's using or talking about. The issue with these things is there's no AAA titles. There is nothing on the Gear VR or the Vive or the Oculus that is just screaming, you gotta go out and buy an Oculus, because this fucking game right here, this is the game. It doesn't exist. Even on PlayStation VR, PlayStation has the best first-party apps. Nothing for VR. No reason to buy VR at all. There's a couple cool experiences, but some of them are as short as 7 hours. And then the ones that are there, you either get motion sickness, or they just don't work well with glasses, or they fog up, or it's low res and you have what's called a screen door effect, where you're too close to the screen so you can see all the little pixels and lines. That doesn't work. It's not worth the price of admission. It's not doing what they said it's going to do, and we're just not there yet. Now, I think this year we're going to get there. In 2018, 2019 release date, we might see something different. There's a couple companies working on something without wires. There's a couple companies without the room sensors. There's a lot of stuff that's being worked on, but we're just not there yet. And that's why virtual reality is the first beef of the week. It's definitely something that is gonna come. It's definitely something that's gonna be awesome. But right now, it just kind of sucks. You look like an idiot when you use it.
I disagree.
And it's not even that fun. So that's our first beef. Our second beef, E3, the Electronic Entertainment Expo. Now this is the hype train that will not stop. It's the hype train to end all hype trains. The issue with E3 is we get sold a bill of goods every year about the newest, latest, greatest game and how it's going to create the most immersive experience that you've ever.
Working on updates.
Uh-oh.
Is it? Wait a minute. What?
Yeah.
That's part of the video.
Oh,
He
no,
trolled
really?
us. He tried to troll us.
No way. Is this not? No, is this for real?
Yeah, it's in the video. What a bitch.
No way.
Sheef, why?
What the fuck was that? All right, we're back. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what happened there. That was
Yeah,
a
it's like,
Windows
oh,
update
crap.
gone bad. It just forced itself open and then crashed the whole system.
My heart
Let's
skipped
get back
a
into
beat
the
for a
ring.
minute.
Yeah, dude, I thought that was you.
All right, so
Oh, that was great.
we did have E3,
I
Right?
had it
That was
full
a
screen.
problem.
I was like, oh shit, no.
but not
This
anymore.
is the worst possible
Our new
time.
beef, Windows updates. Come on, guys. We're going to update our beef.
That was
Because
awesome.
you're updating
Yeah, it was
everyone's
pretty great.
computers. And you're doing it in a way that's screwing everything
Windows
up.
updates
You're a
is the
multi-billion-dollar company. You've been around a long time. You are the personal computer software company to beat. You guys are the best. Until you get into updates. Until you start doing stuff people are not asking for you to do. Okay? This latest update, if you're a streamer, gamer, you got something plugged in via USB, guess what? Shit just got messed up.
Yep.
And this is why you're the beef. Okay? Your updates crash. You're forcing everyone to do it. And sometimes it's at the worst possible times. There's a laughable amount of people that are being in the middle of a stream that get kicked out of doing what they're supposed to be doing. And you're supposed to be the creator update. This is supposed to be the platform to make on. And you guys just make it harder and harder. And this update, while I totally appreciate free updates, right? Because you guys don't have to do that. You can do it in a better way. you're better than this. You can get with the developers. You can figure out how to release this stuff in a way that's not going to Jimmy Jack everyone around and fuck it up.
Jimmy J.
Okay? That's why you're our new beef of the week. E3, you get a pass this time. We're coming back at you another time. So these are our two beefs: virtual reality, Windows updates. James, Jimmy, I want to hear what you guys have to say. I want to hear what the chat has to say and the guests. Give me your beef. There's a right answer. I'm going to give it to you as soon as you guys are done.
All right.
So here we go. Let's hear it.
All right.
Okay.
So, I think we can all just agree that the Windows update's the bigger beef.
Oh,
I
of
mean,
course.
Mm-hmm.
when it
course.
comes to
No
VR,
contest.
I think we're close. But I have a rule of thumb with technology in general. I don't adopt first generation anything. My iPhone 6S works fucking perfect. Because I let them work out all the kinks and patches and all that shit, and then I bought it a year later. I feel the same way about VR. I think first, second generation, they're okay. They're working out the kinks. It's getting there. It is good. There are some pretty impressive, like that new lightsaber rhythm game that I've been watching. That shit looks crazy fun.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Beat Saber looks pretty sick.
The biggest thing I'm waiting for is higher resolutions and wireless.
Mm-hmm.
But you guys,
I'm thinking like the virtual reality. There's actually a decent amount of content. I'm actually at the point where I'm like, man, you know, I would actually be willing to spend the money if I had it. You know, it's so expensive, but like, I mean, dude, VR chat, VR chat is a good time, man. There's some people like where they have they've got the headset and the extensions where they can attach it to like their legs and their hips, and like they can like walk around and you can like interact with other people and just like talk. And I feel like that connection with people through online is like just so important that you can just use your desktop, but it's not the same. You can't like interact the same. You can't like reach out or like interact with things the same way. You know, it's just kind of like it's more immersive, and it's one of the things that kind of made me want to get one. On top of there's been a few other virtual reality games, you know, that work really well with it. And I think my only beef with it is like the setup. You know, like it's still got like sensors in the corner. Like I was watching Retro Gaijin set up his. I was like, damn, man, that looks like really annoying. Then you have to have the space for it and all this stuff. But I don't really think the virtual reality that we're getting now is really that new. I think it's something we've been developing for like at least the past 10, 15 years. I feel like a lot of this technology is being borrowed from like the gyros in the 3DS, or like the Wii remotes in that little sensor bar, or like the Kinect, but not nearly as shitty, you know, like there's just like, it's kind of tech that's been kind of evolving over the past like 10, 20 years. And now we're getting virtual reality with like the headsets and everything else that kind of, you know, that's actually making it what we originally wanted it to be in the first place. But yeah, I still feel like they need to work out the kinks and also make it to where people don't throw up all the time. You know, people are getting sick.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I don't think it's nearly that bad. I mean, it was definitely way worse last year. There was not a reason to get it at all.
it's
Like,
progressing quickly.
Yeah, I agree. Like it has a lot to do with the games that are being made for it, you know? Like it has everything to do with the support from developers and stuff.
Just like any other new technology, porn is going to be what makes or breaks
That
it.
too.
I have seen some of the things related to that, and I gotta say, they're moving in the right direction.
Yeah, and see, you'll notice that everyone, it's like when they really want to just get it for porn, they're just kind of like, no, I just wanted it for Batman, Arkham Knight,
I promise.
and Final Fantasy 15, and Dead or Alive Extreme 3. I would actually legit use that for.
So,
Good.
Kitty Cast has indicated that he needs to head out here soon. On these topics, before we finish up, did you have anything you wanted to add as far as VR or Windows updates or E3?
Yeah, I think for me, actually, probably my biggest beef out of all of them would be E3. But for me, VR is in a fine place right now because I think they've been making steady and consistent progress. And I think a number of people are actually pretty happy and have enjoyed their investment into their VR stuff. And I think I will totally agree with Sheef that at least on my end, there's a lack of like games that you can actually sit down and play and like invest your time into more than like maybe 1 or 2 sessions outside of like your new virtual reality chat room, which is fun and can be great. But if you want like a really in-depth like gaming experience, it still has a way to go.
Yeah, I agree. There's not really like a story-driven single-player adventure game that fully utilizes virtual reality yet.
So I will say what I said last time, and I've said this a couple times about VR. The day that I can have a full Red Dead experience on VR, I will go buy that shit. That if they announce Red Dead Redemption VR so that I can jump on a horse and fucking go shoot people and wrangle, bounties and sit in a room and gamble, and like if I can have a straight up Wild Wild West open world experience, I love Red Dead. It's one of my favorite games of all times.
Great
And
game.
there needs to be some type of game like that, or like God of War, or some, like an epic narrative that actually, not a gimmick, because a lot of the games are built around a gimmick, I feel like. And then once they get past that and they figure out which mechanics work and which don't, and they start incorporating those into some of these bigger titles, that's where you're going to convert a lot of people.
Yeah.
So
imagine
in
a
that
virtual
aspect, I
reality
agree
thing
with
coming
like
out.
Meshyf in the sense that like there is no God of War, there's no Red Dead, there's no like huge AAA like, oh my god, that's like a mind-blowing experience. They've modded old games, like isn't there a Skyrim VR? There's stuff like that, but there needs to be something like, just like there will be that title that will just open everyone's eyes and just holy shit, like good point. So KittyCast, thank you so much for being here. I think we're gonna finish playing the video. Oh, and on the matter of Windows updates, this last update pissed off a lot of people. It broke a few things for me. Artists especially, like their tablets stopped working. It's a Mobius Life, who's also a member of DLC. All of his brushes that he had saved in his art program were erased. Like hundreds of hours of like custom brushes and all this shit. His tablets weren't working. All gone with this Windows update. The first time I opened OBS, all my audio devices were all switched around and messed up and stuff. Like this last update, I think left a really sour taste in a lot of people's mouths.
You guys use Windows 10?
I do, yes.
Ooh.
I'm on 7, and I have to say I was saved.
Yeah. So I was sticking with 7, man. It's never, even when they were like, hey, it's free to go to 10, I'm like, why would I want to go to something that's buggy and jacked up for free? I mean, yeah, it's free, but
I've had zero problems with 10 until this last update. So the update wins for me. So well, let's go ahead and finish playing it. I'll do 1, 2, 3, go, and we'll finish it out.
yeah, sure.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3, go.
And we're back to see which of the two is the beefiest. Your guess is as good as mine. Let's go back to the host, Meshyf, with the beef. All right, this is pretty clear. This is cut dry, easy peasy. All of you that are watching this stream right now are probably watching on a desktop PC. Most of you are running Windows because you play games, because this is Twitch. That's why this guy right here, you're the beef of the week, okay? Windows updates are out of control. You need to pull it together. You need to talk with developers. You need to do this in a way that isn't going to totally bork everyone's systems up, okay? That's why you're the big beef of the week, Bill. Microsoft, with your updates, I love that they're free. I appreciate you, but maybe we can do better, okay? That's why you are the beef of the week.
Yay for Meshyf. Always giving us a good discussion. What was it last week? Last week was a really good one, too. Anyway, thank you so much, KittyCast.
Thank you.
Again, everyone, make sure you go give KittyCast a follow. Check out some of the stuff he's doing with Bless Online. There's a pretty high chance I'm going to play that game, so I'm probably going to be hitting you up to to show me the ropes at some point in the near future, because I would love to get into an MMO. Maybe I can even convince Lady Navio to play an MMO with me.
That's definitely how you can get the hours in. When you can get both people, and then you're like, now we play together.
Yay! Anyway, thank you, KittyCast. I hope you have a good stream. You're going to go stream right now, right?
Yeah, probably for about an hour, and then I have to wake up at 5 in the morning to work.
Well, I appreciate you taking time out of your normal schedule to come here and do this. It really means a lot to me. And make sure you enter that giveaway. You are valid. Anyone can enter. I'm gonna enter myself. No, just kidding.
All right. Well, I appreciate the opportunity to come here, and it was great meeting everyone. And I know you guys are gonna have a great end to the podcast. So I hope you have fun. Have a good Memorial Day weekend too. Plus comes out on the 28th if you pre-order. Or if you buy the Founders Pack, so you don't have that long before it starts. So
All right.
You gotta make that decision quick.
Cool.
All right.
See you around.
See ya.
See ya.
Have a good one. It's probably gonna. Yeah, it broke you. I gotta transition to the. Give me 1 second here.
Oh, no.
The only thing I didn't have time to do because we started kind of late was to set up the 3-person view. So give me 2 seconds to just shift you over real quick. There you go.
He's phasing through the database, Jimmy.
There's 2 of me now.
We'll get it. We'll get it there.
Helmet hair. What? What you talking about?
Almost. Oh, that's the wrong one. Oh, I need to. I did that all wrong. This one is the one I need to change. Here we go. Anyway, we can still chat while I'm doing this. What's next on my list? Let me pull up my list. Thank you, Meshyf, again for doing that. Sheefs beef. Oh, we'll skip that one for now. I do want to talk about E3. It's on my list, actually, to talk about some E3 stuff that's been announced or is going to be announced. And also, yeah, we can talk some shit. I'm totally down to talk some shit about E3. Everyone acts like E3 is like, ever since they made it public. Because first of all, that was, for years, it was like industry only, right?
Yes and no. Because by industry, they meant if you worked at GameStop, that was good enough, that could get you in.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. It was very industry in that, sure, if you work like for like a news agency that covered that kind of stuff, you would get in with the press pass. But the actual barrier for entry was really, really low.
Well, when you say worked at GameStop, I imagine it was like store managers, assistant store managers and stuff. I doubt game advisors were being invited to E3.
I heard it was lower than that, but I mean, it has been a while since stuff like that was talked about.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, I had a friend that went to E3, and the way he described it was every time, like the first time he went, it was like amazing. It's like an amazing experience. It's like, and you can like overlook like the huge long lines and everybody that's there. Mm-hmm. But like after that, you start to realize that it's like really business orientated, and like there's huge lines and everybody's going, you know, like, and it's like, yeah, it's kind of different than what it was, I guess, back in the day. So I think it's just like dealing with so many people and seeing how much money is poured into it. You know, it's kind of like, I don't know, kind of like, I don't want to say dirty is the experience, but just kind of like, it's not the same as it was, I guess. Or maybe we're just getting old and we just hate everything now.
James Bonfire says, reminds me of Six Flags as an adult. What?
Yeah. Yeah, you go to Six Flags and you're like, yeah. And then after that, you're like, my feet are tired, you know?
My bones hurt.
No, yeah, $6 bottle of water.
I want to ride, that sweet ass roller coaster, but I don't want to have to sit in 2-hour line to play like 5 minutes of Destiny 2 or whatever it is at the time.
Destiny 3, maybe.
Yeah. And then there's always like, the inevitable, like the panels that you do actually want to see. They always seem to be fucking scheduled at the same time. So it's like, oh, cool. Like, yeah, the two things, like a lot of those conventions and stuff. I know that happens at PAX and stuff a lot. Like, there'll be like 3 different panels going on at the same time, and you literally can't go to them because they overlap or whatever. But I don't know. I've been extremely underwhelmed the last few years with all of the stuff coming out of E3 in general.
Mm-hmm.
I think the main beef that I have with E3 is that every year, I'm like, I don't know, maybe it's just because like I'm getting older, but I'm noticing that like every year they'll overhype a project, or it'll be like pre-rendered gameplay for something, or they'll get people excited, but it's like a lot of times you're like either let down or brought down. Like I'm sure everyone's seen that YouTube video where they show like the E3 announcement footage and then show the actual gameplay and like overlap them over each other, so you can see how they like downscaled everything. I think they did that with I think the best example was, what was that hacker one? The Watch Dogs, that's what it was. Yeah, like Watch Dogs. They rendered the announcement and they show all this traffic collision, and it's like 16 cars in a pile up and there's an explosion and there's like 500 people in the street, but then they like showed the gameplay and it's like, only like 2-3 cars. Colors
are washed out, all sorts.
Yeah, it's washed out, and like there's not wind blowing across the street, like they'll kind of like overhype a lot of the stuff. So
yeah, I have zero trust in trailers in general. Yeah. I mean, there was that whole Alien fiasco too, where they showed like side by side like the trailer versus the actual game footage of those scenes, and it was just like complete garbage.
Dude, the guy behind that game still stands by it and says he didn't swindle people. Can you believe that?
Yeah,
he blamed it all on Jim Sterling. All Jim Sterling's fault.
Funny enough, did you guys see what trailer came out literally like right before the podcast started?
No.
It was on the front page top voted thing on Reddit. Let me see if I saved it. And we can actually watch it if you want, and we can decide if it's actual footage.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
And while we wait for that, the main thing I dislike about E3 is like in the earlier days it was like really like interesting and they had good stuff, but these days it seems to be a lot about fake leaks and stuff. So it's like they're already releasing like all this stuff about the new games, so why go to E3 when the entire like games lineup was already leaked?
Yeah, because that gets people excited, because they realized that it was viral when things quote unquote leak, and now that's why we got leaks all the damn time,
Yeah, and now companies do shit like this, like release the trailer for Battlefield 5 right before E3.
Okay, that's what you're talking about. I saw it all over. I saw it everywhere. I didn't know that's what you were talking about.
Yeah, here
it is. Yet, but I'm like 90% sure it's not going to be in game.
There is some in game. They make it look in game. It's mostly
rendered in engine. Yeah, I haven't watched the trailer, but I've seen everyone complaining.
Oh, they've been complaining.
It was something about women being in it. But like, there goes the historical accuracy, but that's an issue.
Yeah, I got you. Looks damn good.
So far, this is all pretty clearly just pre-rendered.
No, this is all in engine. This is
or at least brushed up and cleaned up and.
No, man, this is clearly pre-rendered. There's no question.
You'll see where it kind of goes to where it looks like in game.
Yeah. Maybe. So far, it's been all like doesn't even look like it was done in game. This is hype as hell, though.
It gets you really excited for the new.
So
battle.
right here is kind of where, see how like the map showed up and you got your health bar and first person view.
Yeah, this is so big. If anything, this looks like a proof of concept. Yeah, this is definitely not what the final product's gonna look like. Really cool.
Billy Club.
Hello, old friend.
Ooh. Just saw it. She looks like she's from another game.
I'd be
Sick
super
trailer, but
pissed
nah, man, that is
if I
not
did
in
that,
game.
guys.
None of that is in game, dude.
On Xbox One.
No way.
Yeah.
Like you have to look at it from a gameplay standpoint because it doesn't look like anybody's in control at all. Like the camera was constantly moving around, like it was really realistic in the way that it was like looking all over the place. So it looked more like a rendered version of what they wanted to do, but like you could tell like the way the rifle was moving around when they were moving, you couldn't tell what you would be aiming at. You know, it was all over the place.
Yeah.
I wish that's what the gameplay would look like, but I don't know. Then again, if the game did actually look like that while you were playing it, it'd probably be so jarring, it'd probably be hard to play it.
Yeah, because like just looking at that big part where it like transitioned into gameplay, it was super contrasting colors. Like, oh, here's a bunch of white over here, and now here's a bunch of bright green here. Like, what am I looking at?
Yeah, that's another good example because it was visually impressive, but if you're playing a game, you'd be like, what the hell? I can't see what's over there. It's all blinding white and I'm getting shot from nothing, you know, like you can't. So, I mean, it's really nitpicking, but that's the sort of thing, like when I watch E3 these days, I'm just so cynical and shit that I don't want to take the piss out of it for other people, you know, like
Right.
other people are like, dude, did you see the trailer? It's so sick. Oh man, I love it. And I'm like, I watch it. I'm like, yeah, that was a good trailer. You know, and like I'll just shut up because I don't want to like ruin it. Like if everyone's like enjoying it, you know, let them get excited. I'm not gonna go over there and be like, well, you know, it's not in game, right? It's not in game. It's just a shitty trailer. I mean, it's not even. You can tell because, you know, and like I'm like that's I don't
Stop
wanna
crushing people's dreams, BattleAthlete.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here. I'm like, also the Easter Bunny isn't real. Like, what am I, what an asshole? Like,
Hey, kids could be watching.
mature content only. We're over here talking about adult.
Next thing
visual
you're gonna
novels.
tell me we don't live in a democracy?
We live in a society, Jimmy.
A society. We live in a society of memes.
Yeah, I know. I get it. Those of us who have been around long enough to know that promises and reality don't often match. And so E3 just feels like a big toilet full of promises. And then we get reality, and it's maybe a third of that. So,
But
I
I think it's still okay to be excited. You know, like I'll see
Yeah.
something and still get excited. and
there's
be like,
usually at least one or two really good surprises. Like everyone's speculating about Nintendo's like Pokemon announcement or
Oh
whatever.
yeah, definitely.
So-
Like, what's coming to the Switch?
You know,
Wait.
since the Switch is handheld, it will be interesting to see if they take like a Pokemon Go approach or so. I don't know. There's a lot of like,
That is the current like big rumor. That
yeah.
it's Pokemon.
Is
Go.
Nintendo going to be involved with E3 this year? Because they usually do. Nintendo's like, we're too cool for E3, and they usually don't. Even
But they,
show-
well,
we
sometimes
have
they
Nintendo
do,
Direct.
but
So we go
sometimes they
direct.
also announce shit at the same time as E3. Even if they don't go to E3, a lot of times they drop videos and content during E3.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, sometimes they'll drop something on you that you didn't know was kind of you didn't know it was coming. Like that new Spider-Man game that's coming out 2 years ago. I was streaming and doing live reactions for E3, and that was the biggest thing that I got excited for was a new Spider-Man game, dude. Because I've played them all, man. I love Spider-Man games, and the last one that came out, the Amazing Spider-Man 2. I had a lot of fun with that one. The web slinging was really good, and then just out of nowhere, they're like Spider-Man game, and the web slinging looked good. The graphics looked amazing. It didn't like a lot of it was obviously like pre-rendered stuff, but a lot of it you could also tell was actually in game. And since then, I haven't been let down from like actual footage.
But
when that
I
game
mean,
drops, like this year, I'm stoked.
You might be disappointed just because you played the Ultimate Spider-Man game on your stream recently, and I don't know if swinging across buildings gets better than that.
Oh, you talking about Attack on Titan 2?
Yeah, dude. I was like watching you just like swing from tree to tree and building to building and like shooting and like the comboing enemies and stuff. Like that game, I was like, they need to make a Spider-Man game with that fucking engine.
Just give Spider-Man a katana.
Like, if anyone who doesn't know, if you're familiar with the anime Attack on Titan 2, or Attack on Titan in general, Attack on Titan 2, the game, that shit is really fun to watch. I don't know if it's as fun to play as it is to watch, but like I was having a blast watching you play that.
Oh,
like
yeah,
that to me is like, why isn't there a Spider-Man game like this shit? Like, just I don't know. It was really well done.
Yeah, it's the web slinging that really sells that sort of stuff. It's the movement and control of swinging around. You know, it's like in that when you get the swinging physics for something like Attack on Titan or like Spider-Man, you get the physics just right. You'll feel like you're only partially in control. Like that's what made Spider-Man 2 so beloved, is because that has the best web swinging physics. It hasn't aged well graphically. If you go back and play it, it is just blocky as San Andreas. Like looks really bad, but this web slinging is still impressive. Like you jump, you actually have to stick the web to something, and then it has everything to do with momentum, and you can even hold a button to like swing at your legs like you would on a swing to get more momentum, and it's just so satisfying to play. And it looks like they did that with this one and improved upon the Batman Arkham combat mechanics that they've been trying to perfect over the past couple of games, but hasn't been as good.
Yeah.
But it looks like this one they may have actually nailed it, because it's going to be on PS4 and PC, and they won't have to backpedal for old hardware, which is what they did for the last Spider-Man game. They had it on Xbox 360 and the PS3 and PS4. So I think they had to reel things back in to make sure that they could make sure they ran properly on the older consoles. And this is the first time where they're like, all right, just go crazy, man, make it look good, make the mechanics good. And I just feel like it's going to be super awesome. Sorry, I didn't mean to go off on this like Spider-Man thing for like 15.
No. I appreciate your passion. But while you were saying that, the only thing that I was thinking that I hope they don't do with the next generation of a lot of these games, my biggest fear, because it kind of started to happen with God of War, I'm afraid of Dark Souls syndrome. I really hope they don't make every fucking encounter with an enemy like this huge epic battle where it takes 20 hits to kill a guy.
Oh yeah.
Like, I loved one thing that I missed in the old guy. I love the new God of War. I love the story. I haven't even played it, but I've watched people play it pretty much from beginning to end. The only thing I felt like what was missing for me was the maximum carnage of... You said maximum carnage, and that went into my brain. Like, the old God of War games where you just feel like such a fucking badass, where you're taking on, like, hordes of 20 enemies and, like, two-shotting them with your chains and shit like that.
Yeah,
like,
you feel like a badass.
Yeah, I want that in the superhero games, too. I want them to be hard, but I don't want it to be like you sit in the same area. Like, the same reason that I didn't like Neo, and the same reasons, like, I have a hard time with some of the Dark Souls content. Like, every fight is such a chore. And it's like, sometimes you just want to feel like a badass,
Yeah.
And I miss that on some of the new games. They're taking that more Dark Souls approach where everything has to be hard, and you have to learn how to kill each enemy, and it's like this huge, I don't know. I
feel like that breaks down into the actual game mechanics and what it's like to play them, because Arkham Knight on higher difficulties can be really difficult, but it has such a rewarding system where it gets easier as you get better as a player.
Okay.
They'll throw in different variations and stuff. But if a game is just like it's a fine line between like challenging the player and just annoying the shit out of them.
Right. Exactly.
It's so hard to find that. Like perfect example. Like, did you hear about that game Extinction that came out?
It sounds familiar.
It was like about a month ago or so, where you run around and you cut off these giant ogres' heads and limbs and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was excited for that because a lot of people are saying it looked like Attack on Titan or like Shadow of the Colossus, but more fast paced. And but the entire thing drug itself down because it became extremely annoying. It was based around which type of armor the orcs had on their limbs, and they'd be destroying the city. So it was kind of like an escort mission, and it was just it just became a huge. It went from being holy crap, this is awesome to this is just annoying. Like there's like this gauntlet can't be busted, but this one can be busted if you get all the locks first. This one has to be handled this way, and it just became super tedious and not challenging. So it's like, it's a really fine line of making the player feel like a badass, like you do in Arkham. And then there's like other games where you're just kind of going through the motions and just swinging blindly, or just being annoyed through annoying mechanics that are trying to appear as like variety, and it's not really variety at all.
Right.
Yeah, like that's an issue I have with difficulty in games in general, because it's like in a lot of games, turning up the difficulty just means your enemies take less damage and they deal more damage, and nothing really changes from that. I know at least in the new God of War, it was like if you go on the hardest difficulty, every fight is now like a Dark Souls boss because they'll two-shot you, and you can't kill them that quickly anyway.
Yeah, like that's the easy go-to way of like just turning up the difficulty.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's super frustrating because it's like, oh yeah, just crank up the health, and now all it does is slow the game down. I don't feel like it makes it any more challenging, and like the enemies don't have new abilities or they're not faster or anything. It's the exact same game, just slower.
Yeah,
it's what I liked a lot about.
Did a good job of that.
Oh, finish.
Oh, I was just saying that this beat 'em up I played, Dragon's Crown Pro. With after you complete story mode, there's like a new difficulty where you start from the beginning, and each boss got like a new route, and not only was harder to kill, but they would like mix things up, and like I thought that was really interesting. It also keeps you playing, but also makes the game like new and challenging again. So like,
what was that one called?
Dragon's Crown Pro.
Okay.
It's from the people that did Odin Sphere, Muramasa Demon Blade.
Note that now.
Yeah, where they have like that really hand-drawn like storybook style.
If you like very endowed witches.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I should have just started with. I was like, the one with the witch with the giant titties. That's okay.
Got it.
Should have just said that in the first place.
Yeah, and what I was gonna say was it's what I liked a lot about Dead Cells, because the game you can't change the difficulty, but as you play, what makes the enemies more difficult isn't that they're just like more health, more damage, is that as you encounter new enemies, they all have different move sets and they all do different things. So as you progress through the game, because I remember I played it and I was like, oh, this is kind of tough, but then I learned what the basic enemies did. I moved to the next area and I was like, whoa, how did this game get so much harder? And it's not that the game got harder, so I just encountered new enemies with new move sets, and I just had to learn what they did. And then as you kept doing that, the game gets more difficult without ever really being difficult.
Right.
Yeah. Like it's not just upping up the health. You actually have to like evolve as a player.
Yeah.
And like adjust to patterns and stuff.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I like Wizard of Legend so much. It's the same exact thing. Like there's the it's a hard game, but it's hard because there's 3 different environments, right? There's the ice environment, there's the fire environment, and there's the earth environment. And then within those environments, there are different sets of monsters. And depending on where that environment, so they're like, you do them in an order, but that order changes every time. So you'll do like it's randomly generated. So like let's say this run, the order is ice, fire, earth. So the ice enemies, because they're in the first set, they're easier and they do less moves. I don't know if their health might scale a little bit as well, but if you were to encounter those same ice enemies, but it was after the first boss, like it was the second set, the enemies actually have like an extra move. Like, so depending on, you know what I mean? So that like not only do they get a little harder, but their actual skill set and move set changes. And the same's true with the bosses. If the ice boss is the first boss, he has a different set of, he has like 3 moves he can do. If he's the second boss, he's got like 4 moves he can do. If he's the third boss, he's got like 5 moves he can do. So depending on where the enemies are along the path is how hard they are, but not hard health wise. It's actually they're smarter and they do more moves.
Yeah, that kind of mixes it up, and
right.
like I think that's what people enjoy about fighting games too, is that the difficulty in that it comes with being able to adapt quickly.
Right.
Like, you have to do it before the match is over, and I think that's what makes it so.
Like, oh, I've never seen that combo. I've never seen that move. I got to do this now to adjust for that. You know, it's like, how quickly can you learn those new mechanics and adjust for them? But that's
exactly like if they get you in the corner or something, and they have a move where they could either hit you with an overhead, or maybe they'll do a low, or they'll grab. You have to like evolve. Like, oh, he's doing an overhead. I have to block high at the end of that. And if you can't adjust, then you lose. That's why they usually do like tournaments in fighting games that are like 2 out of 3 matches, because they give people a chance to a little bit more time to evolve or adapt to a situation, because if they like that's how like the pros win. They adapt quicker.
Yep.
They evolve like mid game, so they have to like be able to make those adjustments, and I think that's why people enjoy that sort of difficulty. Also the fact that it's like a human versus another human, so you can like get a read on the person that you're fighting against and like make assumptions of what they're gonna do. And
everyone has patterns, as hard as you try not to. Everyone has like a style.
Yeah, you got to be able to get a read on them. Like, okay, he grabbed me last time, this guy would grab me 4 more times. I know to tech that grab, or I know to you just gotta feel for the way they play, and it's like a really intense version of like checkers or chess or something. So
very true. So I want to move on. There's something that I want to talk about that I personally experienced. I don't even think BattleAthlete is allowed to experience.
Oh, well, now you got me curious.
I streamed on Mixer the other day.
Oh.
Because affiliates are allowed to stream on other platforms, just not at the same time.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I thought they weren't allowed to at all.
No, and in fact, you are allowed to stream on other platforms, but it can't be gaming content. Partners have an agreement that any new gaming content will be streamed on Twitch. You could do a podcast or like something else. That's why E3 was able to stream their podcast, or H3H3, even though they streamed like their podcasts and games and stuff on Twitch. They're allowed to stream their podcast on YouTube because it's not gaming content.
Oh, okay.
So that's a thing. Affiliates don't.
Contracts.
Affiliates are allowed to stream on any platform they want, but not at the same time. Because there's those services out there where you can stream to them, and then they'll stream to like all 3 at the same time.
Yeah. There's like programs that can do that. I've known people that do that.
Yeah, and there's third party. Like you can pay. There's like a third party online company you can pay $5 a month, and they'll restream your shit to like every platform.
Oh, you have to pay for that? That's whack.
Yeah, because it's a lot of bandwidth. They have, because they're basically like taking your signal and sending it out to all of the different encoders. They're basically sending it out to YouTube, Twitch, and Mixer for you at the same time. So if you're an affiliate or a partner, you can't do that at all. But I can.
But Twitch said they'd give me money and I played for them. What do you mean there was more in the contract?
Yeah,
so
most people don't read it.
I was really curious about Mixer because not too long ago, Microsoft bought them. And Microsoft has a tendency to not like it when things fail, so they just keep throwing money at it.
Oh, that's totally true.
Yeah. So I'm very curious to see what happens with Mixer, and I at least want to be familiar with the ecosystem. So I streamed on Mixer, and I kind of want to show you guys. I don't know if this is like... Is it against the rules for me to show Mixer on Twitch?
No, I don't think so. And
that wouldn't be.
You think they're gonna come after you, Jimmy?
Yeah, no, probably not.
As long as no one
Twitch has got bigger problems with searching out streamers saying racial slurs. We don't have to worry about you, Jimmy. You're good people.
So one thing I really like about it right off the bat, so let's go to our media view here. Both the chat and the video screen, when you pull up a stream. Oh, and also... they have an option by default that basically says You can tell it to automatically record your VODs, and then there's a checkbox that says play last VOD if I'm offline. So if you go to my channel, like if you go to mixer.com/JimmyNavio, first it gives you a warning that it's a mature stream and nothing will show at all until I remember this and click watch. And then it immediately just starts playing my last VOD. And then, I don't know, is this volume? Oh, that's viewers. Okay. So that's kind of cool. Do you see that? It shows you like your viewers. So I told a few people from the DLC community and just some friends and stuff that I was going to stream on Mixer.
Okay.
I was playing some Wizard of Legend. The number one thing that everyone noticed immediately, so they have two types of servers. They have the traditional like RTMP or whatever servers that Twitch has, and then they also have these servers that they call FTL, which I'm guessing means faster than light. I'm not, what else would that?
Faster than light.
Literally zero latency from chat to video. Like when someone would type a message and it would pop up in my chat,
It's immediate.
it's literally just like, I mean, people were typing stuff and it was less than a second. It was like milliseconds. It was
Same thing with
crazy
alerts.
fast.
Mm-hmm.
And they also have this XP system built into the entire platform where you have a level and you get experience and you get this other currency, and then different the channels can choose how you use that currency to interact. So there's some really cool things that they're doing. One of the other big things that was kind of cool is they have multi-streaming built in. So if I come here to browse and I check this box that says co-stream, it's going to filter everyone who's co-streaming. So if I click on one of these, it's going to take me straight to their co-stream, and it's going to load all of the people that are co-streaming. And it's built into the platform. On Twitch, there's third-party like websites that'll do multi-stream stuff for you. In Mixer, it's built in.
Oh, that's cool. So if you're streaming with a friend,
right? And again, because of that faster than light server shit, like you can be almost perfectly synced up with the person that you're co-streaming with. It's pretty crazy.
yeah, that is pretty wild. Like, I have a friend that moved from Twitch to Mixer. And she's seen a lot more success on there on Mixer, but I feel like a lot of that has to do with the fact that Mixer doesn't have as much competition, but she's getting more viewers and like more support over there. And I literally made a Mixer account just to go, watch her and support her. And that's the first thing I noticed is that the latency is like there's no latency, but it's I also was told that's because Mixer
they don't have as many people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like with Twitch, like they actually implemented a beta for low latency where it's almost just as quick, not quite as fast, but it's like maybe another second or two delay.
But I bet it'll improve over time.
Yeah, I agree. But if Mixer became more popular like Twitch, I feel like that would still be something that they would have to deal with. It was a little bit more latency, because apparently Twitch was like that back in the day too, before like in the very early stages of Twitch and Justin TV, the latency, like there was none. So like when they started getting more and more latency, that's when like the old school viewers were like, dude, that took like 13 seconds for you to spawn. Like what's with the latency or something like that. And
right.
Like
yeah, thing. I think. Sorry, I had to reset my camera real quick. I think again it's gonna go back to Microsoft doesn't. I mean, they don't have a problem spending money, because I think honestly, if Twitch wanted to have enough servers and infrastructure to drop their they don't have a true competitor right now. Sheer numbers wise, the highest game that's being viewed on Mixer is not even 4,000 viewers. So the audience is much smaller. Twitch has no incentive to drop millions of dollars for more servers to lower their latency, because they know that like there's not going to be a max exodus tomorrow to Mixer. If Microsoft can scale their platform and maintain that latency and continue to pull viewers and slowly like build their platform and have all those features that Twitch doesn't have, all it would take, in my opinion, is Twitch making one or two drastic mistakes for a whole shit ton of people to just switch. Because it happened with YouTube, right? Like it only
Yeah.
takes a few bad decisions. Like how many people from YouTube are streamers now? Like we've seen a huge
A lot.
exodus, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
a
I'm
lot.
curious to see if plus my other thing that is interesting in my opinion about Mixer is because it's got Microsoft behind it. Microsoft has no problem greasing pockets. If they want some tournament to be exclusively on Mixer, they could probably, money talks. They
They're
could
already
probably
doing it, actually.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I had just watched the Darwin project. They did a whole tournament, and all the players they had were people that streamed on Twitch.
Right. So I mean, it's something to think about. It's something to be aware of that there's money back in it. And I think, Microsoft's really going to do whatever they can to make it successful. So we'll see.
I've actually had a conversation with somebody else about what they would really need to do. And it's like you said, with money and putting that money in certain spots, bigger streamers, you would need to pull those audiences with bigger streamers that are already established on Twitch,
Right.
which has happened. Like, I'm not going to name anybody, but like there's been big recognizable streamers with huge followings. They're switching over to Mixer, and they're like, yeah, I think I've done everything I need to do on Twitch. I kind of reached my peak or whatever they say about it, and they go to Mixer, and it's like that's what you would need to do. Like, there's no way that they're not just going from Twitch to Mixer when they already have a huge base and everything like that, and bringing up the point that when you switch platforms, you're going from Twitch to Mixer. Everything's going to take a dip. Like, you're going to take a huge hit. And there's no way you would make that transition unless there was like money involved.
There would have to
like
be some legit.
guarantee.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like I'd like to give people the benefit of the doubt, but there's just no fucking reason why you would do it. There's no reason why someone would leave already having, what everybody dreams to have, like an establishment, financial stability, an audience, and you're on a platform. What would get you to switch to a newer platform, like where you pretty much have to start from scratch, just bring whatever audience will follow you over there?
Mm-hmm.
Mixer would have to pay you, and like they would have to pay, like big streamers and ask for them to come over, probably like an annual salary of maybe one or however long, like to get them to come over. And that's how you bring your audience and establish your viewer base. And then when those people start telling their friends, and then it just kind of goes viral, more people are talking about it, and they switch over. So it's just like you said with tournaments, but just with streamers,
Yep.
Yeah, like a good example that I know of is watch any streamer that plays one game and then look at their numbers when they do a sponsored game. Because the ones that stick around, those are the ones that are there for the streamer's personality. Because usually the number of viewers they have drops like 80% a lot of the time.
Yep.
For a lot of those guys. So their niche, they can't really leave, because the people that are there for them instead of the game they play is just way smaller, and it's going to be even smaller when they switch to a newer platform.
Right. And the other thing to also take note of is that with those people that are there after those other people aren't there, when they're playing something different, a lot of those people are also there just because they are big. If they kept on not playing their game that people expected them to play, a lot of those people start to trickle off too. They're like, they're used to seeing this person with, a couple thousand, and then they only have a couple hundred. And then, from a couple hundred, it's like 100 something, and it's like 80, and it's like 60, and it's like 40. Next thing you know, nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
It's like, for some people, they'll never lose their audience that severely, but that's essentially how it works. Like, even then, when they do that one game, that's not what they normally play. It can still get so much lower.
Right.
Than that one time,
I wanted to bring up something Lost Loves Game said. He said Darkness429 went from Twitch to Facebook, I assume with a contract, but gained his 150k followers back in less than a year, as opposed to 4 years on Twitch, and his viewership went up maybe 250%. The difference between Facebook and Mixer is Facebook is not exclusively a streaming platform. There's so many people that are on Facebook already for other reasons, so it's really easy and convenient for them to say, oh, okay, yeah, I'll watch this, or oh, yeah, I'll follow this. Whereas with Mixer, a lot of people don't even have an account. A lot of people don't even know it exists. So that's a big part of it, is like it has to have a user base. Facebook has a much larger user base, even though as a streaming or video platform, it's a younger platform. It still has a much larger base to throw people at.
Yeah, it's been around for like 10 to 15 years. Mixer's been around for like 2-3. You know, it's like it's established. That's where, I mean, your grandmother has a Facebook. You know, it's like everyone's on it already. You know, it's established.
And then I find that interesting too, because I don't go on Facebook like that often. I go in just to check notifications, just because it's how I talk to some people that I don't have their numbers. But I don't go to Facebook, and I'm like, oh, I wonder who's streaming right now on Facebook. Let me go look at the streaming section, because honestly, I don't even know where to find it.
I don't watch streams on Facebook. It's usually my friend like drunk at a bar or something like that, and it's like a blurry camera with lights just, you know, streaking across the screen and yelling, and I'm like,
yeah, there's a lot more social streaming going on over there.
Yeah, not really game oriented.
Like I saw my mom and I was like, your mother was live like 4 hours ago, and I was like, wait, what? Why? And then she's peddling her snake oil online.
Oh yeah, dude, Facebook is huge for so the multi-level marketing and door-to-door sales, it all just moved to Facebook. Like that's like the fucking, hey dude, I just started selling these candles. You can get in if you buy a packet for $200 and get it on the ground floor.
My mom is huge on that.
Oh yeah,
she's like, these essential oils they'll fix everything.
Or the wraps. The wraps were another big one.
Oh yeah, buy my mixtape. It's fire. Or like, have you seen those bootlegs? There's so much bootleg stuff being sold on Facebook. It's ridiculous. Like I had this idea for a video last year, but and I was actually I compiled probably like 50 pictures of bootleg Dragon Ball Z t-shirts that I found exclusively on Facebook. And I was going to make a video where I went through and made commentary for each one, but a bunch of stuff came up and then I just never got around to it. But it's like, they're so stupid. It'll be like, they'll take like Goku's head and like Vegeta and they'll put it on like the cover of Blood In, Blood Out, or like, you know, they'll make it look like Friday, or they'll have like a picture of Goku and it'll have it'll be him with a cross or something, and they'll make it Christian, or they'll like put him in a basketball jersey or something like that. Oh, or they'll put like Vegeta with his kawaii son and put like an American flag behind him. Like, what is this, man? Like, dude, there's some wild crap on there. Oh, there's like it's like one with Goku.
So it wouldn't be on there if it didn't.
Yeah, it sells.
Yeah, but they're so bad. They're like so bad, dude. But like, that's just Facebook, man. It's bootleg and normies.
So I think what I want to do, I have a couple more things I want to talk about, but I think I'm going to take a short break if we can. Before we go, though, we have some new faces here. I'm going to throw it out there one more time. During this podcast, we just announced and started a giveaway. If you follow that link there, myself and James28 have decided to do a little giveaway to promote our Twitch channels, his YouTube channel, the podcast. We're trying to get this going, so please go check it out. All you got to do is give us a follow, hit us up on Twitter, and tell your friends. And there, I think I left it unlimited as far as how many friends you can refer. So you can get extra you can get extra entries in the giveaway for every friend that you refer.
Did you also tweet it out?
I'm going to probably be tweeting it out on the regular, probably like a daily tweet or whatever. It's going to go for 2 weeks. So not next week's podcast, but the podcast after that, 2 weeks from now. I think Lady Navio is using the blender or something. I don't know if you guys can hear that. It's really loud.
Oh, vaguely. I thought that
might be me. So 2 weeks. I think it's June. What was the date? June 6th?
Yes. Wait. Yeah, I think so.
June 6th podcast, we will announce the winners. You have to be present during the podcast to win, so don't just enter and forget about it. Set it on your calendar. 5th. June 5th? Is it the 5th? 6th.
Oh, you put a typo on here.
Oh, does it say 5th? All right, I'll fix it. It's the 6th. My bad. We will announce the winners. It's going to be randomly drawn from the Gleam platform, so there will be a first, second, and third place. First place gets an Amazon gift card. Second place gets a Steam gift card. Third place gets a $10 or less game on Steam. So go enter, and we look forward to seeing who wins. I think Dom and Darko's going to win. I'm going to call it right now. He's going to win third place, though.
Now, if he does win, it's going to look like it's rigged.
It's not rigged, but if you're not there to claim it, we're going to roll it again. So it could be rigged in that sense. If some rando from the internet enters the giveaway and doesn't show up for the podcast, he's going to miss out. All right, let's take a short break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about I want to talk a little bit about crowdfunding, and I also want to talk a little bit about music. I always have a couple things in the music world that I like to talk about because it's an important part of my life. So we'll be back in a minute. Oh, by the way, from our first podcast, we had that big discussion about like 90s movies. I went back and started making a list, and I finally signed up for Rabbit. So that's going to happen eventually. We're going to have a cheesy 90s movie night. So I'm going to have to coordinate that. Make sure you're in the Discord if you're interested in that.
Rabbit.
So let's take a short break, and we'll be back in a few. All right, guys, we're back. Thanks for those who stuck around. Thanks for those who were here at the beginning. That was cool to have KittyCast here hanging out with us. Hopefully, we can get him back again. And hopefully you guys go check out his stream. Go check out some Bless Online if you're interested in some MMO action. Japanese MMORPG. So I'm going to switch over here, and we'll bring BattleAthlete and James back on. Got a couple more things to talk about, and then we'll probably call it a night. You guys there? Oh, I muted you on my end. There we go. Got it.
I'm back.
James trolling as usual. You're a little low. Oh, there you go.
Oh, am I?
I feel like you're lower on the screen. No, not volume-wise. Your head is...
Oh, gotcha.
You got shorter.
Yeah. You
Sit up straight.
Stop slouching, asshole.
Sorry, it's so comfortable.
KittyCast seemed like a swell dude. He is a swell dude. He's a nice guy. He's pretty chill. He's always like very informative. Anytime I have a question, he'll have a nice long answer for me. Give me all the details. So, one thing we were joking about that I kind of wanted to bring up. I had this link I wanted to bring up. I saved it in my junk here. I thought it was worth talking about. It'd be a fun discussion. And it is this pair of headphones. This company that made a promise about headphones.
Oh,
ad blocker. I'm an asshole. Thanks.
Bully Hunters. Is it a Bully Hunter headset?
No, check this out. 3D headphone startup closes up shop after crowdfunding $3.2 million.
What?
Yay, crowdfunding! This is only one of many examples of
crowdfunding. The best thing that can happen is you get what you paid for.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're gonna have to explain this one to me. I haven't heard anything about this.
So this happens a lot, actually. So when we talk about crowdfunding, we're talking about Kickstarter, all of those Indiegogo, all of those platforms where people can pay to fund a project.
Mm-hmm.
In their user agreement, they make it very clear that you are paying for the potential of a product, and there is no promise that you will actually get what you paid for. You're basically like gambling.
Mm-hmm.
You're investing in an idea that you really hope comes true. And and the problem is a lot of people don't know that. They think because it's got those different tiers of like, hey, if you spend $30, you'll get 5 of these XYZs when they come out. But it should be if they come out. Because a lot of shit gets kickstarted, and a lot of people have walked away with a lot of money without delivering any product.
Yep, that's why people are kind of cracking down on exactly what they back. You need some real credentials and like proof of concept, and things like that. Or it's just gonna be a joke, like the what was that? The potato salad thing.
Oh, that was a good one.
Yeah. And
He
so
got like $10,000 and then threw like a small convention where people could come and get potato salad. That was great.
Yeah.
I hold not only the individuals who do these accountable, I also hold those platforms accountable for not being clear enough about that. I think Kickstarter could do more to educate people and to make sure people understand that you're not paying for a product. You're not guaranteed anything just because you gave these guys $100 and they said that they're going to give you something for it. There's zero guarantee that that's going to happen. And this is a perfect example. This company here, I mean, we don't have to read the whole thing, but back in 2016, OSIC-X hit the ground running with crowdfunding effort to fund and sell 3D headphone that produces true HRTF 3D positional audio, which we stay blah, 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 blah. So basically, they did a huge Kickstarter, raised millions of dollars, and I think they may have shipped a handful. Yeah, right here. OSIC-X says it did ship some initial units, though not very many. The company produced 250 finalized models, shipping 80 of them to Kickstarter backers who pledged $1,000. That leaves more than 25,000 pre-orders on Kickstarter and Indiegogo combined as unfulfilled.
Wow.
So
$319 down the drain.
So what are these headphones?
And I'm
exactly?
done with Kickstarter.
supposedly they're supposed to produce like realistic 3D sound or something.
Oh, like surround sound headphones,
something like that. There's basically they were saying that they could provide true positional audio. They were claiming to be like the VR of audio.
Oh,
like this was the revolutionary audio breakthrough that's going to make VR more immersive type thing.
Got you.
I find that funny, especially when the real audiophiles, they spend a lot on their headphones, but they spend even more on the decks.
Yeah,
so that's where like it matters.
Oh yeah, you're not going to be able to
processing itself.
Right.
Yeah, you could have more speakers, but it won't necessarily adjust where the audio is coming from unless you like break down the actual audio source, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of dumb.
But yeah, I just, anyone out there who's still watching, I just would like to public service announcement: don't fucking back shit unless it's money that you're willing to not. I mean, if you've got extra money and you want to gamble it and say, hey, you know what? I want to support these guys, regardless of whether I actually get anything or not. I want to throw my support in there. It's
the bazaar.
Yeah, I've only backed one project ever, and it was recently. It was for this anime Gunsmith Cats. They're it was like a 3 OVA thing. And they were putting it on Blu-ray and like cleaning up all the animation and adding extras and all this other stuff. And like, that was the only thing I've ever backed. And I'm more than confident that they'll actually deliver. But I mean, when you see projects like this or, other ones, it's like, even when it looks like it's a solid project, I'll be like, no, I'll just wait.
I will say, unless you're familiar with the people behind it and they have proof of work they've done in the past, because it can be a truly useful tool. There's been lots of examples where crowdfunding has pretty much, it completely revitalized the whole click adventure genre. If anyone remembers the whole like Telltale Games thing, like, was it Telltale or was it I think it was Telltale, wasn't it? Weren't they the ones that what's that game called? Anyway, like that genre was all but dead. Just like the click adventure genre.
Point and click, Monkey Island.
Crowdfunding saves. I think it was Telltale. I'll have to look it up. But there was one specific game and project that it basically proved that people still wanted those games, because like in a world where execs are making a lot of those decisions, it can be a good way for people to talk with wallets, right? Where enough people say, yeah, I want this type of game to be made. A good example, in my opinion, is the game Chasm. That was a game that was kick funded.
Kick funded, nice.
That the reason that popped into my head is because that was a joke. That was an idea I had. No one steal this idea. So you know The Onion, like fake news.
My favorite news source.
Yeah.
I thought up the idea one day. Like this is a couple years ago when Kickstarter and GoFundMe and Indiegogo and all those things started. I wanted to start one, and this is still an idea that I might actually like. I wanted to start one called Kickfunder. And it's basically The Onion of crowdfunding, where you can make up any ridiculously over the top like idea to have crowdfunded, but it'll be obvious that it's not real, right? Like it would be satire basically, but it would be essentially just fake projects that you could, and then but the catch would be all the money. I'd make it very obvious and clear that all the money that anyone actually contributes would just go towards a charity of choice. So, but it would be a fun like way to like just kind of make fun of the whole crowdfunding thing. I was gonna call it Kickfunder, and it was basically gonna be just like people coming up with ridiculously stupid crowdfund ideas.
Yeah, that seems like the best way to actually clean up the legitimate crowdfunding sites as well, because a lot of people, you know, because of that potato salad thing that happened,
right?
All these like people are like, oh, all I got to do is make a dumb Kickstarter of me wanting to make a salad or something,
right? But I mean, if I did something like that, it would be like charity based, like because it would just be like just for fun, like over the top stupid ideas. Like I was gonna call it Kickfunder.
Well, I mean, you could come up with ridiculous ideas and how convincing you make the project. If somebody laughed, they'd be like, that was worth the laugh. Here's $5, or
right.
Like right off the top of my head, it's like, all right, here's my idea. Crowdfund this. I'm gonna make a 3D printing of your favorite waifu's ass, and I'm just gonna like put it on there, you know, and then I'll have like really bad Photoshop like 3D models, and just like if you can make the person laugh, they'll probably like throw some money at you. You know? It's about the concept and how ridiculous, but still kind of probable it sounds.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was a funny idea I had one day. But here's an example. This game Chasm, at the time that this game came out on Kickstarter, there was not a genre that there is now. So this game claimed to be the first roguelike Metroidvania. That's what their goal, like they were basically like, we want to make a Metroidvania that's a roguelike. So randomly generated, side-scrolling, Metroid style, whatever, right? Because this was started in 2014. This was started before Dead Cells existed. This was started before, like, there are games in that genre now. The only other one at the time that I think may have just come out, but it wasn't the style. It was a little bit different because it wasn't a true Metroidvania. Was Rogue Legacy.
Yeah, that was a good game.
Yeah, it was a good game. So Chasm was trying to make a true like Metroidvania roguelike game. And so they did a crowdfunder. They got funded. I think they got 190,000 of 150,000. So they exceeded their goal, but they hit their goal in 2014. And it's 2018. The game's been in development for like...
Whoa, really?
Like four...
Well, clearly they ran away with the money, Jimmy. So.
No. It's about to come out. It's going to come out this summer, finally. I've been waiting for this game for so long. And in the meantime, like 2 or 3 other Metroidvania roguelikes have come out. So it's like... They kind of like, they kickstarted it and they proved that people want this kind of game, but they've taken so long to finish the game. And part of the reason is they got bought by Sony like halfway through. So
that would do it.
I really hate that too. Like when a Kickstarter project gets funded, but then they suddenly, reach out to publishers at the same time. Like the whole thing you kickstarted is because you couldn't get a publisher. But then after you get all this money, you work with a publisher. It's like, that kind of bothers me a little bit. I mean...
Yeah.
Like I think a big thing is that a lot of these Kickstarters underestimate how much money they actually need, and that's where some of them fail.
Yep, they forget about taxes and all kinds of other stuff, inexpensive. They just think about how much time and
what do you mean we have to buy healthcare for our employees?
Yeah.
Wait, you mean you locked us in a lease for this building for 5 years?
Ooh,
Yeah,
there's the business aspect.
Yeah, there's hundreds of hidden costs in this stuff. Like you can't just like, and once the money comes in too, that's when the true nature of human beings comes out. Because you got 5 friends in a garage who are making a game, and they're like, "Hey, we've got something here. Let's crowdfund it." And then all of a sudden they hit like $200,000 on a crowdfund, and now Bob all of a sudden wants his cut. Like the true nature of human beings comes out once there's actual money on the table, and it's not 5 friends just having fun making a game.
Yeah, because then it's kind of like, well, we have the money, let's do this, and like that's what happens when a lot of people come into a lot of money. That's they squander it or they don't spend it wisely, and then it's kind of like when people win the lottery or something like that. It's like a lot of them end up ruining their lives because they didn't spend it right. They spend their money like they're a millionaire.
Yeah, what percentage of lottery winners, like there's a statistic out there somewhere that like some crazy percentage of lottery winners are like almost broke within like 5 years or whatever. Because
there's a difference between a millionaire and a person having $1 million.
Right.
A millionaire has the income to be to make $1 million and have it. Another person is someone that just won $1 million. That's not going to last you forever.
Well, yeah, and the one thing you have to remember is that rich people didn't get rich by spending their money.
Mm-hmm.
Like they save, and that's why how many professional athletes and rappers and musicians and stuff that like come into all this money and then don't pay their taxes for 2 years and buy 4 cars, and the next thing you know they're bankrupt. Like they've never learned the money management skills that true wealthy individuals have spent their entire life honing. And they just, blow it all. And I think sometimes that happens with Kickstarters. They're like, "Oh shit, dude, look at all this money."
Mm-hmm.
And then
it appeared to be, after a quick Google search, about 70% of lottery winners go broke.
Yep, there you go. It's a crazy high statistic. Like all they have to do is put that in a savings fund or just invest half of it and live off the other half for the rest of your life. But they're like, "Holy shit, I'm buying a boat." Like,
yeah.
Like
why not 2? They just go ham.
They get the money, but they don't get the years of financial experience that comes with real wealth.
Yeah,
and that's the problem.
Exactly. Yeah, the other thing is a lot of those people will be lucky to be broke. A lot of them get murdered by like close friends or family for the money.
Yeah. Well, either murdered or lied to or taken advantage of. That's what happened to.
Absolutely.
I think it was MC Hammer. Like when he made all of his millions, like he had his money management people and his posse or whatever just like drained him.
Wow.
Like bad investments and it's happened so many times where all of a sudden your friends and family come out of the woodwork, or Bob's got an investment idea, or
you suddenly got cousins you didn't know about.
Money does fucked up things to people.
Do you guys remember Selena from the 90s?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what happened to her. One of her close friends that was one of her managers or whatever was like stealing money, and when she got caught, she killed Selena and then she killed herself. It's like, dude, what the fuck, dude? Money makes people crazy.
Yeah, and so I mean, you gotta keep that in mind with Kickstarter too. Your average Joe comes up with a good idea, and the internet throws a fat stack of money at him, and he's like, what? What do I do now?
You gotta make that shit last, because then they squander that money without working on the game. Then when they start to work on the game, they don't have the money to survive while they work on the game. So,
I need more money, guys.
Yeah,
exactly. Like I remember reading. I forgot when I read it, but it was like a lot of these people, when they get that money, they lose the They lose the interest in actually making the game, because they're like, I already cashed out. Why do I got to make a product now?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can make more money off the product if it's good, but I mean, you hear a lot of bad Kickstarters, but there's actually a lot of good ones that turned out pretty good, like Hover, Spark the Electric Jester, Undertale, Shovel Knight.
There's definitely a place for it. I just think there needs to be a little bit more, I don't know if it's regulation or just like better education and better like expectation setting when it comes to what it really is.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people think they're buying a product. Like a lot of people think, oh, okay, I give you $15 and you make a game and give me the game. But there's no guarantee whatsoever that you get anything. And so
personally, I think they do know. And that's kind of the thrill too. You're like, oh, throw my money in it. Let's see what happens. You know, like,
there's probably a little in column A and a little in column B. There's people like us who know, hey, this looks like a cool project. I'll throw $15 at it. I don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also like, you know, people out there who don't really completely understand what crowdfunding is, and they're just like, oh, okay, I can pay $15 for this game. You know, like because nowhere on this page, like right here, my problem is a lot of the wording right here. When it is released on Windows, things like that.
Which could be never.
Right. And so like that's the problem is like, hey, you'll get a copy of the game when it's released. It should say if. Like being completely honest, like
yeah, but they're trying to bestow confidence into them, but if you're looking at it from like a law perspective or something like that, they should really be saying if to cover their own ass, because that could be a lawsuit.
Right.
Yeah, that leads into the second thing that I always worry about with Kickstarters is when they start offering like things like as well that's not related to the Kickstarter at all. We're gonna give you merch as well, and it's like
stickers, t-shirts.
Yeah, it's like if you're offering that's money that you're now taking out from the money you just got crowdfunded. So now you had 100,000, so now you're gonna spend a portion on that merch that you're gonna give back. So now you have less.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it seems kind of sketchy almost, unless they like really know what they're doing. But another good example of there's this game. Can you actually search it, Jimmy?
Yeah.
I think it's on that platform. It's called Power Drive 2000. I'm pretty sure it's on there. I don't know if the Kickstarter project is still up, but let me see if it comes up.
Megacom Games.
Power Drive 2000. Yeah, I think that's them.
Okay.
Yeah. Check this out, dude. I saw this like maybe 2 years ago on YouTube, and I was just like floored. I was like, dude, this looks sick. Yeah, can we actually watch the trailer?
Yeah, we can. Frango, thanks for being here. Have a good night, man.
Yeah, see you later, Franco.
Yeah, let me full screen this.
Yeah. I want y'all to see this and get really excited.
Did it ever come out?
Well, I don't want to spoil it.
that's a surprise, Jimmy.
That's the fun part. It's 80s as hell.
Oh yeah, I love. Why is the 80s aesthetic so damn?
Because this is the future we expected in the 80s, and now it's now. We don't have it. So we're going back to the 80s.
Yeah, like what happened? I thought the world was gonna be taken over by like heavy Taiga Industries and like Viacom mega corporations. Instead, we got Google and Microsoft,
Coca-Cola, Disney.
Dude, there's a game on Steam that came out just now that looks a lot like this.
Oh yeah, there's been some rip-offs. When this game blew up, there was a couple of other games that completely ripped it off that aren't really good at all. It's called there's one called Neon Drive, which is its own thing but has similar aesthetic, and then there's another one. I forgot the name of it, but it's really, really bad, and that's the rip-off.
Yeah, that trailer was sick.
Right? And there's actually screenshots. If you scroll down where they showed the different cars, there was like a DeLorean, the Knight Rider car, just like all these other 80s vehicles that you would just be like super into.
Yeah, I dig the aesthetic of all of it.
Oh yeah, it's great. And I mean, if you look at it, it looks like a finished product. It just looks like maybe they needed more content. But yeah, they've got shirts, and I mean, look at it, it looks solid, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Like when I first saw this, I think the project had already closed, but like that's the kind of game where I'm like, this is convincing. They have footage, it's professional. They got t-shirts. Oh, don't bother looking for it.
No, I know. I was just saying. I knew I saw a car game on Steam today. It was Slipstream.
Oh yeah, Slipstream is pretty different. That's more of an outrunner.
Yeah.
With like.
All right.
But I was actually streaming that yesterday.
So anyway, did these guys take the money and run or what?
So what it sounds like to me, they went dead. They've been silent for about a year. Last thing they tweeted out was that there was a lawsuit involving one of the cars or something like that. They couldn't talk about it a lot, but as you can see with the 80s aesthetic, I think they got a little too close. to some of the models, like with Knight Rider and all the other things. And I think they got a cease and desist. And they said they were talking to lawyers. So I think what they did is, from what it seems like, after a year plus, it's probably been a year and a half now of like dead silence. They haven't said anything. And it is just completely dead now. I think they just didn't do anything with it. So I mean,
how hard is it to change the car model?
Dude, I don't know what went on with what they talked with those lawyers. Maybe they just, I have no idea. Like, you can only speculate, but they went dead silent. But they were showing game footage. They actually even showed up in other people's games. Like, there's this finished Steam game, or early access. It's called Super Indie Carts. That is on Steam, and they have a bunch of indie
I gotta
games.
look that one up.
Yeah, it's good. It's a fun game, man. I would totally recommend it. I streamed that one too, dude. It's super great. It looks and plays just like Mario Kart on Super Nintendo.
Oh, the old Super Nintendo Mario Kart. Yeah.
Yeah,
I can
it's a
see
fantastic game. But you'll notice that they have characters from it stars other indie car or other indie characters. So you've got like Freedom Planet characters,
Ukulele.
yeah, like all kinds of them. And one of them in that game is actually a black 80s Knight Rider looking car from Power Drive 2000, which is a game that never came out.
Dude, this
So
should be a
it's
good
like,
Thirsty Thursday game.
you should totally play that. And I don't know if they ever added multiplayer or not, but if they did, I would race you. Oh, they added
it has
first
multiplayer.
That's new. Yeah,
Is
they
it
added-
local only or? We'll have to
It was
find
local
out.
when I played it, but it says it had local multiplayer when I played it, but I don't know about online, at least
All
not
right.
yet.
Yeah, it
But-
doesn't look like it says so. And it's funny you brought this up because I remember my friend Prototype, who he's been making this small, like, what's it called, Mega Man's like inspired platformer for like 3 years now, just like on the side. And I remember he was telling me about how a different indie company that was making an indie fighting game asked him if they could use his character, and he's like, my game's not even like a game yet. Why are you trying to use my character for something that's not even released?
What was the name of the game?
I forget, because it was like a year that he told me that story. Because Prototype's platformer is like, I've only ever played the demo he had, and even that, he sent that to me through Discord. He doesn't even like have it available to download.
Yeah, so it's just kind of weird that this game that looks like it's never going to come out. I mean, after a year and a half of complete silence, it seems pretty much like it's never going to come out. But you also know that when it comes to lawyers and that sort of talk, that is slow moving. That does usually last about a year or so.
Yeah,
Like-
the last update they had said BRB chit-chatting with lawyers, fun
Exactly.
times.
Yeah, I thought
The
maybe
fuck
they had
in February 2017. BRB talking to lawyers.
Dude, I told you. I thought maybe they had posted something since I last checked in, but nope, that's the last thing that was typed whenever I checked in on them too, forever ago.
Look at this
Yeah.
guy, Martin Menguin. I pledged to more than 60 projects on Kickstarter. The fact that this is the only project in my list that failed to deliver so far gets me so mad. Everything is ticked green except this one asshole. I can't find another word to describe this guy. Any further update? Dude, look at all these people. All these people.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You go through that comments, man. You'll see a lot of upset people, man. Some of those people dropped some serious cash.
Jacob Hagloff. Well, fairly passive-aggressive update. When you go to the trouble to do an update that goes to all your backers yet says so very little, it leaves too much room for assumption. Yeah, people are fucking butthurt. I would be
Yeah.
too, dude. That's what I'm saying. Like, Kickstarter, like, people, they don't... I mean, some of them know it's a gamble, but some people are, like, gets legitimately upset because they're like, I gave you money and you gave me nothing.
It transcends way past disappointment. Because tell me, after watching that trailer, would you not go, oh,
Yeah.
this is like shit? Not only are you not getting that awesome fucking product, but you get nothing and negative whatever you invested in the money, like
Yep.
into the game.
And
So it
even
hurts
looking
really,
at this
really
one,
fucking bad,
even looking at this, it seemed like such an obtainable goal. Like, the money wasn't outrageous. It was only like, what, 50,000 Canadian?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, and they had like the t-shirts, they had the proof of concept, gameplay footage. I wish they had the car selection screen so you can see how close on model they were and what probably caused the lawsuit.
Right.
You might have to go to YouTube for that.
Maybe.
I'm not sure if it's on their actual project page or not.
Yeah,
but
I
you
didn't
can
see
like, a
anything about
DeLorean.
Car Select. They have a list of like Power Drive 2000, Mega Drive. Oh, is that the music?
Oh yeah, they had a sick soundtrack that was lined up. Like, look at that, dude.
Yeah.
Oh,
Huh.
such a damn shame.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, BK? I see you in the chat. Sorry.
BK, yes, you did miss the discussion about the Steam crackdown, but the VOD will be available immediately after. So once we end the podcast, if I do choose to continue streaming tonight, it'll be I'll restart. So the podcast video will be available as soon as we finish up, and we're just about done. Actually, I think other than Kickstarter or crowdfunding shit. The only other thing I wanted to talk about is our favorite actor slash rapper has announced he's coming out of retirement. Many of you know him as the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh, Will Smith.
He's decided that he's gonna put all these bitch ass rappers in their place.
No, this has got to be a troll.
No, it's almost a full track. I'm not gonna play the whole thing, but homie's got bars. He can still rap, because I mean Will Smith was not a bad rapper. He's actually actually this is a perfect segue, because he made the same mistake that all early success rappers make. He actually had a whole video talking about it on his YouTube channel. He made a whole bunch of money off of his first album, and he blew all of his money. In fact, him blowing all of his money is what led him to get the spot on the TV show Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh, is that right? I thought before Fresh Prince he was he was trying to do like hard gangster rap. But
No, he did Ring My Bell, like Parents Just Don't Understand. Like he had some really like popular rap. Like he was a very he came out with a rap album that was pretty well received.
Actually, you know what? I do remember one of those songs you mentioned. So you might,
those are like You Can Ring My Bell. There's that one. There's Parents Just Don't Understand was a classic that he came out with. I mean, he had some old school, just like solid rap tracks. Him and DJ Jazzy Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
And then he blew all his money. And he admitted it. He just came out of the video. He's like, yeah, like all this money came in, and I just fucking bought cars and didn't pay my taxes, and and then
all of a sudden I was broke.
Yeah, then I didn't have any money, and I had to figure out what to do. So I went to this meeting, and they were talking about this TV show, and I auditioned on the spot, and they're like, "You want the job?" Like, it was just like crazy, the whole story. And he ended up, that's how he got Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. But
yeah, I bet you it's also a lot of networking as well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's a charismatic dude. I think he's a type.
He's extremely likable.
Yeah. So anyway, he's always continued to rap. There's always those cross promotions with the whole Men in Black. He came out with that rap track, and then he came back and there was Miami was a big hit. So
getting jiggy with
it. Whenever he decides to, he just shows up again, and he's like, yeah, let me show you guys how this is done.
Mm-hmm.
So he recently just dropped.
Can you link me so I can watch it too? I haven't seen this.
Yeah, I'll drop it in our little Discord discussion here.
Yeah, thanks.
I mean, I'll play a little bit of it. I probably won't play the whole thing because I don't know how many people here are actually interested in Will Smith. But I mean, I grew up listening to some of his stuff, and I always thought he was a pretty talented dude. There's like hints of political stuff in there. He talks about his kids. I think he mentions Jaden on the track. I don't know, but it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun to see him try and make a comeback. Anyway, I saw KittyCast with the host. I guess he finished streaming already. Thanks for anyone who came from KittyCast stream. He was here earlier. Make sure you check out the VOD. That was a lot of fun. He just DM'd me and said, thanks again for having me on. I thought it was fun. You've got a super cool setup. Awesome. So hopefully, in the future, maybe we'll get KittyCast back in here.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Around what time does the song start? Is it about like a minute in?
Yeah, he talks for a sec there, but like there's like a full blown track. So I'm gonna play it on stream too for anyone. The beat's really interesting.
Yeah, let me know when you're starting the video at, because I was gonna start it about like 1 minute and then go from there, so I can hear what it sounds like. I want to be on the same page as you.
So I'll start it at 55 seconds.
Okay, 55.
Let me pause my background music here. I hate having dead air, so I usually have background music during the podcast.
Oh, good. I was gonna say, like, because I didn't know you were actually having background music, and I was like,
yeah, I keep it nice and low, you know, like I just kind of there. But I hate silence. It drives me crazy.
Yeah, man, I just heard that first verse and it hits you hard.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Will Smith, he's right. Talented, man. So I'm at 55 seconds, and we'll do 1, 2, 3, go.
Yep, I'm ready.
1, 2, 3, go.
It's 20 years of swag y'all just witnessed. Let me remind everybody who Will Smith is. Rappers make it rain. Let they money hit you. If I throw my money up, shit, I'll probably kill a stripper. The illest, realest, big Willis. Down with the man in charge with Uncle Phyllis. Everybody wanna do Will Smith numbers. I don't know if your life got that many summers. I got inspired. Quickly I unretired. The Fresh Prince just rewired them slightly to modern fire. But still, people dancing and shaking and moving and wailing and feel like I'm an alien. Really, kind of an island. I might fly to China for nothing. Find a designer, a picture in my crib with me, my mama, and Obama. Murder all over the globe. Guilty, Your Honor. I'ma become a Mormon. Marry and Halle, Rihanna. I'm an anomaly. Do drama or comedy. I could play Muhammad Ali or a white lady, probably still. 20 years of swag, y'all just witness. Stop the divorce rumors and mind y'all damn business. Birth for the click track, ridiculous. What I charge for a feature? Man, that's expensive. Cause y'all be doing features. I be doing features. So many tickets to theater need bleachers. More information from me than from most teachers. More inspiration from me than from most preachers. But wait, truly. Just for the record, directors make movies. I make directors. Y'all dinner table, what y'all learn today. My dinner table, what y'all earn today. The real life Incredibles. Last name Smith. Jada, Jaden, Willow, Trace. Y'all ain't with my friend.
Oh, get shit on.
Yeah, cut that. I know, yeah.
New music coming soon, right?
That was sick, dude. Okay, that was sick as fuck.
Dude,
I just realized how much material he has over all the movies, dude.
Right?
He's got, like, Pursuit of Happiness references and shit in his fucking raps. Like, he's got so much material.
Right?
And yeah, dude, I love how he took a dig at his own son, because his son makes some whack-ass shit.
Look, Jaden is just on a whole different like plane of existence.
Oh, fucking Jaden's a walking, living meme.
Plus, like the fact that he was rapping over a beat so for any musical people, like if you notice that was a swung beat, that's not as easy to rap over because there's a difference between and when you move the eighth note over half a beat. So like that was a swung beat. So like
yeah, that's what gives it flow, you know.
Oh, like that shit, like that. He's fucking talented. He always has been. There's a reason the dude like is still killing it.
Yeah, man, that was really sick. When you first told me, I was like, I don't know, man.
Will Smith.
Yeah, I mean, like, no offense to Will Smith. I mean, I love Will Smith like everybody else does, dude. But you kind of like, you know, like I see him being goofy on Twitter and stuff too, man. Because like he retired, didn't he? He kind of retired.
Yeah, ish.
Yeah, I think he's just kind of like, all right, I'm winding down now.
He started a YouTube channel and he's been posting shit on YouTube.
Yeah.
In fact, let's see. Will Smith talks about Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah, he even kind of jabbed at it too, where in that line, you know, it's been 20 years, but, and then.
Here you go. So story time.
Wait. Meshyf says his son is so annoying, though. Have you seen the Left 4 Dead mod that replaces all the Survivor graffiti with Jaden tweets?
Nice.
Dude, that would be like the safe room, the safe room you go into, instead of it saying like all that zombie stuff, like, oh, they're here. It's probably like a really deep Jaden meme tweet.
Yeah.
That's
So
great.
yeah,
Look, how can
the
zombies be real if her eyes aren't real?
So watch this video. I'm not going to play it, but it's called How I Became the Prince of Bel-Air Story Time. It's on Will Smith's channel. This is the one where he talks about like how he made it, like his first rap album came out and he blew all his money, and like the whole like journey from like basically being a successful rap artist to
can you
losing
link
it
in
all.
the chat and
Yeah.
in the stream chat too? That way they can
Yeah.
check it out too.
And then like how he so I mean, I got a lot of respect for the guy. Like he made some really shitty decisions and he bounced back and now he's made an empire. Like the dude can't be fucked with. And
It's true.
you know, like love him or hate him, love his kids or hate his kids, like you can't deny the level of success the dude's had.
He has a huge control over his like emotions and stuff like that. Like the only time I've seen him lash out at somebody like in a public place, which that's really hard to do, was when he was on the red carpet or something like that, and some reporter or some random person came up and like kissed him on the lips or something like that, and he was like, what the hell? And he like slapped him in the face, but then he like shook his hand and made it look like it was playful or something like that. I'm pretty sure anybody else would have popped him in the mouth.
Yeah.
I forget exactly what happened. I haven't seen the clip in a long time, but just the idea that he has like such a control over like like how he is and acts around people, man, that shit's not easy.
Yeah, I don't like. Yeah, no, it's respectable, and like a lot of people don't realize this, but he made a career. Most of his rap is clean. Like he made it a point. Like for most of his career, he didn't cuss at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
know?
actually really impressive, because a lot of rappers use like words like shit or fuck
or the N-word or
as filler to get to the end point, which is really lazy. It's like to actually fill that with meaningful words and actually have. I mean, we've gotten so much worse than that. We got mumble rap now.
Yeah, mumble rap, man.
What was that one guy where he's just like literally just saying random
I'm also
words?
excited. Eminem's also kind of making a bit of a comeback. He just released a new track recently.
Wait, BattleAthlete. Are you saying Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang is not the greatest lyrical masterpiece of our time?
Is that the one where he literally is like, he's like, pickles, weasels, this is my belt, these are the peoples, is he just like literally putting words together?
Yeah.
That
along with like 40 Gucci Gangs every 30 seconds.
God, that's not even funny. It's just sad, At least with that other guy where he's like, pop, 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 that shit is just funny. It's like he's just having a good time throwing out gibberish.
Poop, poopity scoop, scoopity poop, 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 poop.
Pop, 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 peep, peep, pop, pop. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Look, man's not hot. Man will never be hot.
Man's not hot.
I like the
Shit.
Naners version of that shit better.
No, I mean, honestly, like, it's kind of exciting what's going on, because Will Smith's coming out of retirement. You got Eminem making new shit. In fact, in Eminem's latest track, he takes a direct dig at mumble rappers. He did a collaboration track recently. And he had one of the most creative lines. I gotta read these lyrics. Probably gonna call it a night soon, but I'm gonna pull up some lyrics. I typed them out because none of the lyrics site had the lyrics for this song yet. It was like the day it came out, so I typed up this verse just because it was so fucking ridiculous. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on one sec. I typed it up and sent it to a friend. All right, so check this out. I'm just gonna read it. I can't rap, but this is off of the latest collaboration track that Eminem did.
Okay.
So it says, number one, but my pencils are number twos, cause that's all that I do's with 'em. Poop is my pseudonym. On the John like a prostitute when I'm dropping a deuce, and when I'm producing them lyrics bowel movements. These beats are my saloons, cause these bars all got my stool in 'em. Like, there's so many like puns in just those lines. And then he says, I don't need Metamucil to loosen them. Bitch is real like I poop Jerusalem. Like he makes a reference to pencils being number 2s because that's all that he does with them. Poop is my pseudonym. Dropping a deuce, producing them lyrical bowel movements. This is the best line. These beats are my stools because these bars all got... these beats are my saloons because these bars all got my stool in them. Like, there's like so many double meanings just in those lines. So like, I don't know. Will Smith making a comeback, Eminem making a comeback, and on top of that, it's been like 4 years. Tenacious D making a comeback. They just announced a new album. Yeah, they just announced it. They came out with a video. We talked about it on one of the previous podcasts. They're finally gonna release a new album and they're gonna tour the album. So like, I feel like it's 2013 or 2014, like all over again. Like all this, like, I don't know. I'm really excited.
It'll be nice to get some decent rap like back in the industry instead of like a lot of the garbage that's been, coming out.
A lot of the popular stuff is trash. I mean, there's still some really good like underground stuff, but a lot of the mainstream stuff has just been really disappointing.
Yeah, a lot of mainstream music is like repetitive, bad pop music or really, really terrible rap, just rapping about having bitches and money or some shit like that.
Drinking lean.
Yeah, just garbage, like the good rap is the one where they're rapping about like real shit and like real life experiences and stuff, whether it's good or bad. But when you just rap about generically having money, it's like, who the fuck cares? It's like, yeah, I just got a lot of money. I got bitches, I got cars. You're like, cool. Rap about that for the 500th time. That's cool. Like, that's what you like about like Eminem or like old school like 90s rap, is because they rap about like real shit, So I find it like way more interesting and entertaining to listen to,
All right, guys. Well, I think we did a thing. We're about at the 3-hour mark. This has been an awesome discussion.
Yeah, I had a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun as always.
So one more time before we go. Oh, sorry, James. What was that?
I say, even though it's only the third one.
This is podcast number 3. They're only going to get better. We had a little technical difficulties with the transition from 4 to 3 people. In the future, I'm going to have separate scene collection. I have a scene collection for 2 and for 4. I didn't make the one for 3 because it was kind of last minute. But usually that will be a much smoother transition if someone drops out of the podcast. So we're almost there. Lost has given me one more final cut for the overlay stuff, so it's almost right where I want it to be. We're in the growing and learning phase of the podcast, so these first 5 or 10 episodes are probably going to be a lot of like perfecting and tweaking and kind of continuing to make this the best experience that we can. But I wanted to do it live. Part of this is the fun part of it's just kind of like seeing the improvements happen in real time over time. So it's kind of a learning experience for everyone. The first episode, we spent like the first half of the episode just setting up overlays. So,
yeah,
it's just kind of like it, but that's fun to me. I don't know. That's part of the process. I want to share that with everyone. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I agree.
So before we go, one last time, I will mention to promote the podcast and what I'm trying to do, what James is trying to do. We started a giveaway. First place is a $50 Amazon gift card. Second place is a Steam gift card for $50. Third place is a $10 or less Steam game. It's real easy. All you got to do is follow me, follow James, sub him on Facebook, check out my Discord, hit up our Twitters, and tell all your friends. And that's all you got to do. And for each one of those things, you get one entry into the giveaway. So the more you do, the more entries you get. 2 weeks from today, we will announce the winner on stream during the podcast. You have to be there to claim your prize. If you are not there when your name is announced, we'll give you 5 minutes. Otherwise, we're going to re-roll it.
They have to be there for the cast?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
We are going to announce
is that listed on there?
Yes, it is in big red bold writing on the giveaway. It says you must be present to claim your prize. Otherwise, we will re-roll it for the next person in line.
Good call. Good call.
So
Yeah, we don't want people like signing up for it and then just never show up.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, they won, but we have no idea who they are.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
we want to get to know you. So please hang out, get to know us, sign up for the giveaway, and you got 2 weeks to tell all your friends. I'll probably be tweeting it out every once in a while to remind everyone. But thanks, guys. It's been a great podcast for those who stuck around. And we'll be back next week, hopefully with some new guests, some new content, some new topics. It'll be after E3. Oh, by the way, shout out to Team DLC. We are planning some DLC group viewing stuff. They're going to be restreaming a lot of the E3 events. I think Ring of Favor is going to be restreaming the Sony event. So we're all going to meet up in his chat. We're all going to just kind of party out and talk about it and watch it in real time. I think Sammy and Pete, we're all, a few of us members of the DLC team are going to be restreaming various E3 events. So come hang out with us. One team member or another is probably going to be showing something with E3, and we'll talk shit in real time. It'll be fun. Praise it for it must be praised. Yeah, I can't wait for Favor to come back to his regular streaming. Hopefully his throat fully recovers, because we need more. We need more of that Favor energy. All right, guys, have a good night, and thank you all for being here. And we'll be back next Wednesday for another podcast.
Bye.